Alright people, this is the Union Tapes episode number 11 and it's a long one. Do us a favour, like, comment and subscribe and share if you can. This episode is with Mike Canning, one of the most legendary ramp riders and dirt jumpers of the 80s and 90s. He caught the spotlight at the tail end of the BMX boom in the mid-80s and followed his passion right the way through to the 90s, adapting how riding was changing at the time through those years. As usual, we tackle the beginnings of his BMX life right up to the later days of it. We discover a lot of info about Mike's early sponsorship days and the scenes he grew up in. Contest riding, race days, inventing tricks, riding meanwhile quarter pipes, BMX Action bike days, trip to Ron Wilkerson's enchanted ramp, riding in the Circus, and Mike's life in BMX in general. Mike tells all there is to tell, and as ever, I could have listened to more. Enjoy. Alright, first of all we go into sort of the early part of your life we always start with, so where you was born and raised and sort of school and childhood interests and that. So where was you actually born?
I'm a Yorkshireman.
Oh really?
Yeah, born up North Humberside.
Okay.
My mum had me, I didn't know my father, so we lived at my nan and granddad's. My granddad was a scrap metal merchant, rag and bone man.
Yeah.
We had property. Well, they had a property. It was sort of like just outside of town. They had nice big area, and it was just full of junk.
Yeah.
And when I was about, I must have been about 4, I think, 3, 4. My mum brought back a bike. I think it was a girl style bike. I can't really remember much about it, but no stabilisers or anything. And she said, I borrowed this bike from a friend to learn how to ride. So, for the day.
Yeah.
So, got me on the bike and I learned how to ride it and she was happy with that, and then took the bike back and that was it. And then when I was about 5, my auntie and uncle who lived in Farnham, they were going away on holiday to the States for like 6 weeks. Like they earned decent money and stuff, and but they had 4 kids from the ages about 7 until 15, and so my mum went down there, took me in tow to look after them for some holidays.
Oh, okay.
And that was it. We ended up staying.
Yeah, because you were around Farnham after that, weren't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What was you then, 5 or something?
Yeah, I was 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we came to the end of the summer. I wanted to go home, obviously.
Yeah.
We came to the end of the summer holidays, and Mum said, "Oh, actually, we're staying." And so we stayed at my auntie's, and roughed it. Enrolled me in the school in Farnham. And that was it, because it was the same school my youngest cousin went to. She was a little bit older than me, 1.5 older than me. So I went to school there and got the piss taken out of me because of my northern accent.
You had a northern accent,
yeah?
When
full
you was a
on.
kid?
Yeah, full on.
Fuck.
And I got rid of that pretty quick.
Oh, let me just check that that's right. Fuck, I never knew that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's weird. You know people forever, and then just ask them a question that you just and then
all my relations are northern.
Yeah.
So
I always thought you was from down like Farnham, sort of Farnborough area.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so when you moved up here, what year was that? Like late 70s?
73, 74.
Okay.
It was Evel Knievel time.
Yeah.
My cousins didn't have bikes or anything, so I wasn't involved in that. My auntie introduced my dad to my mum, and they started going out and stuff. And my dad owned a fruit and veg shop, just one room in this house. It wasn't his house; he just rented it. And then they, the old woman who owned the property, she died, and they rented the whole house to us. So we moved into there. And then we just started taking over each room and stuff. And then they bought the house.
Oh, okay. So was you in that house for a long time?
Yeah, I was about 7 when we moved there. 6 or 7. Just trying to
Was
think.
that the same? I went to your house and there was a shop. Was that in the same place?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it was only one room that was the shop. Originally, we had a lounge. We had a the proper kitchen, like a middle room, and the 4 rooms upstairs. But what they did is they just expanded.
Yeah, just kept going.
And we moved upstairs. That took a few years, it was probably early 80s that they started doing all that. The shop was doing really well. But I suppose when I was about 8, I got my first bike. And that was one of those. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was called a tracker, but it was
I remember that
a copy of a chopper.
Yeah,
a second-hand thing.
Yeah,
and that was all right. And then my next bike, I was about 10, I suppose. I got a Rally Spider.
Oh, I don't remember them. Yeah,
yellow Spider-Man.
that
thing, like spider webs on it, and. It just looked like one of those little mini mountain bike sort of style bikes. There was, wasn't a rise on it or anything. In between, but when I was living at my auntie's, obviously I was just into Evel Knievel. And I got the Evel Knievel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah,
$6 million man and Evel Knievel toy, and that's what I played with all the time. So I wanted to be Evel Knievel. So. My rally, jumping forward again, my Rally Spider, I scratched it all up and I was jumping it and all that lot. There was tree stumps. I got a chipped tooth when I looped out and chipped my tooth when I was, 10, 11 or something like that. And I pestered and I got a grifter when I was about 11 or 12. Brand new grifter. It's just amazing. And I totally totaled it.
So that was probably 1980.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just before, wasn't it? 79, 80 or something. I think grifters were.
It was amazing. It was just you're just thinking, oh my god. I was jumping ditches. I'd set up a jumping people. Like
Evel Knievel.
Yeah, just wanted it all.
You break it.
I bent the forks out.
I chopped the forks. Yeah.
So I got. Now this is. It's a bit weird because when I was about 13, I did. There was the theatre in Farnham called the Redgrave Theatre, and they were doing a production of Oliver, and I auditioned for that, and I was like part of that. And the kiddie who played Oliver, who was only like 10 or 11, I remember just sitting at the back of the the stage, and he's yakking away and. Didn't really speak to him much, but you heard him, and he's going on about being in America and riding a BMX and doing these massive jumps and all this. And I was sort of thinking, yeah, right. But that's the first time I heard about BMX. And of course, at school, I had a lot of time off because of that as well. So it's it's pretty cool. When I went back to normal, like coming up to, I think it must have been 82. It was a wet break, and there was some lads sat in the corner, like the geeky sort of nerdy guys, and I was sort of like, "What's all that?" And it was a BMX Plus.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I'm like,
mind blowing.
What's that? Yeah, obviously ET.
Yeah,
I think that's probably.
That's maybe around that time. Yeah, right around that time.
It's
I think ET was 82.
It was also because my mate, I think. Because that Christmas, my mate got a BMX for Christmas, and he had the ET doll as well.
Oh yeah.
But it was a shit BMX. But it was BMX.
Yeah.
And because I was breaking my grifter up, I went up to the local bike shop and I got a set of BMX forks. So I put them on there. I had a single speed, so I had a
technically he was halfway there. Yeah.
And then those lads who had that magazine, they were from like the estate down at the bottom, Badshot Lee. It's like it's about a mile from where I lived. It's right down the bottom. It's a nice estate, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and they had this big square green, and they said, "Oh, you want to come down? We've got some jumps and that." And I went down there, and they sort of set up some track. And it was like, "Oh, I love this," you know, on my grifter. And of course, you know, one of the lads, Leroy, he just had like some rally chipper or something, and he had this writing on it. And I goes, "Why have you got hard
Right, yeah.
on your down shit?" You know?
Yeah.
He says, "It's not hard, it's Haro." It's like, oh right. Of course, you get a magazine. It's like, oh
yeah, I know what Haro is. Yeah.
that was quite funny, really.
And what was that called? The place where you lived? Was it Aldershot or something?
I was right in between Farnham and Aldershot,
Okay.
Weybourne.
Oh, okay.
And Badshot Lee was just like another sort of like little villagey sort of place down the road, and that's where we just hung out, you know.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, there's going to be a racetrack opening up in Farnham. So I was pestering my mum and dad, you know.
Oh, so you were still on the grifter?
I was still on the grifter.
Okay.
And I'm looking through the catalogues, and I said, look, I can pay £1.43 or whatever. And eventually they said, okay. So I got my first BMX. It was an iron horse.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
With the tiny, thin, yellow plastic wheels.
Yeah. Black. They came in black and yellow and black and red. I think.
That's it. I had the chrome. I had the chrome frame. You know, like with a gooseneck and you know, like it's some weird. I've never seen that.
They were like real tall and boxy, weren't they? Like,
yeah.
The back ends almost looked like they went down.
That's it.
Yeah, I remember them vividly. Yeah, thinking they looked weird.
3 days I had it.
Not even as long as the grifter.
But it wasn't me. A mate of mine said, "Oh, let's have a go on your bike," and he was, you know, doing kickouts, and he just broke the wheel. So it was like, "Oh, send that back." And of course, oh my God, you know, like the first BMX meeting is on in like it was like 2 or 3 weeks' time, and it was like, oh. And it took 2 or 3 weeks to try and persuade my mum and dad to get me a BMX, you know, like for that. We went down there seeing it all being built and stuff, you know, in between times and that, you mean my grifter and stuff, and you know, it was all cool. It was like just wow, this is amazing. And on the Saturday morning of the race, of the first race, the first meeting, I managed to persuade them. We went to Guildford, pedal pushers in Guildford, and I got the Silver Fox.
Oh wow! I think I've seen pictures of you outside that shop. Maybe is there a couple of them on the internet?
That's Aldershot BMX. That came like a year or two afterwards.
So you got the Silver Fox, and then what? You went to the race?
Yeah.
Was you at this point in time when you're like early days and you're just trying to be Evel Knievel? Was you still like quite fearless as a kid?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought you would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like jump. You know, when I say jump in a ditch, jump in a river, it's like an 8 foot wide gap with 2 foot drop to the river. So you know, if you would cane yourself if you if you nose bonked it, but you go up front wheel high and you just like Evel Knievel.
Because I remember being like, "Fuck, I'm not jumping that." Like being scared when I was young, like to jump like gaps and stuff. I just thought that you would be the opposite. Yeah, like just fucking huck it.
Well, we had my mate lived on the way down to Badshot Lee, and there was a perfect tree stump with
little tranny at the bottom.
With a tranny. And that's where, my rally spider, and I always used to jump it, go as far as I could. And but that one time I looped out, and that's when I went home in tears because I'd,
What did you do? Like lay on the back and
your
teeth went together?
No, the bars.
Oh, right, fucking
bars. Hell. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's only a little chip, but
first injury, yeah?
First injury.
Yeah.
It was cool. And my mum said, "Oh, don't worry about that.
That's the way to do it, isn't it?
You don't have to go to,
Yeah.
We never went,
You'd be alright, yeah.
I had a swing hit me in the head. when I was about 9. Massive gash. Went home. And Mum goes, and she got the egg, like the skin of the inside of an egg.
Oh yeah.
And like glued it on. Old wives' tale.
Like the membrane, is it called?
Membrane, yeah. And, it went...
It worked, did it?
It worked, yeah. I've still got the scar to it.
So did you enter that race at Farnham?
Yeah.
And how'd you do? Well, the track was new, so...
Yeah, it's brand new. So we turned up. I had one of those, is it Diatron helmets?
Yeah, I remember them, yeah. Real like plastic bolt-on mouthpiece on
there. Yeah, it's an awful looking thing. But of course I thought it looked brilliant, so I had one of those. I had, all the things that I need, like they paid for it, right, go. So I went straight to the track, and they had the opening ceremony, and they had Harvey Monkton, Carl Alford, and I can't remember who else, another couple of decent riders, and they'd jump in the table. It's like,
what was it, 82 you reckon, or 83?
83 I think.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was 83. Because by that time I was coming up, I think I was 15.
Yeah.
So it was like I was quite old. But I was small for my age, And of course all my mates are, like they're in the younger groups. I was the oldest out of a lot of us. And, like your motos were put up, like, who are we racing? And of course, first race, it's Carl.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's like,
so he was already riding, like.
Oh, Carl was just.
He'd been, if he's racing, he's doing good. He's been to other tracks.
Yeah, he was on his JMC.
Okay.
He's sponsored by JMC.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. And Harvey Monkton was on.
I know Harvey Monkton. He was the like Christian racer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I always remember he sort of endorsed the Christian stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think he rode for Yes BMX.
That's it. Yeah.
And there was another couple of guys that that you just thought.
Yeah, they've been doing it a while, and they seem.
But there were so many people there, and they all seemed, like red lines, PK, like the proper bikes, like, and I'm like, but I was chuffed. I loved my Silver Fox. I was chuffed with it.
So do you remember where you come? We just came in the pack somewhere.
It was like, that's the thing, you see, because that was only a 4-man track, 4-lane track. So I came last, but at least I was fourth. That sounded pretty good. It was quite a tight track. I think the first moto I probably came last, but I think I might have got a third because someone fell off one of the motos. Obviously, I didn't progress. But that was it. That was it.
The first real.
I've got a photo in my bag of my first on that same day where we went back down to after the race meeting and that. Went down to Badshot Lee, and I'm jumping, like with my pro light top, and it's just that was it. I was just hooked.
Would you, if you had to guess, how many people do you reckon was at that race?
Well, including, because they had a lot of spectators. Yeah, it was just, there must have been, it was just loads.
That was a boom year, wasn't it? 83, it was just coming up big time.
It was just, packed. And from what I remember of it, it was always packed, like for that first year.
Yeah.
And Silver Fox only lasted 3 months, and I broke it. But I was, we was jumping, and so I took it back to pedal pushers, and I had the same thing with Zach. What have you been doing? You've been jumping? No, I'm racing. Right, well, we'll get you a new frame in. We'll switch the frame. So I had the Silver Fox with the red stickers, the red and black stickers, and then I got the frame with the silver and black. And of course, that lasted 2 months. Broke that. Down at the gussets every time.
Yeah.
Took it back again. Well, got my dad just to take it up there, and he wasn't happy going up, trying to get money back and stuff. I don't blame him. And and they said, well, no, we can't do it again. Like we'll re-weld it. We'll get it re-welded. And Dad came back and he said, so I didn't have a bike for, like 2 or 3 weeks, and you're just like, what are we going to do? And I didn't really do anything, like I just had to wait. And then the frame came back re-welded. And then, of course, that lasted 5 minutes. It was like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That broke as well. But, we were going down, we'd set up this sort of like a banana jump onto a flat. And then we'd put posts up and try and get us, like a high jump. And so we were just trashing, all of us. One of the lads, he originally had, what was he had? He had the, what was that? It was a Pro Light. I think it was a Pro Light. With the star on the gusset.
Yeah, Pro Star.
Pro Star, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah, he had a.
They came in chrome and like red and blue and chrome as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Russell, his name was, and he had the Pro Star. Lee, who had the hard chipper thing, he got a bike. I can't remember what bike he got. But Russell, he got a brand new white PK Ripper, fully decked out, and it was just like, mate,
jaw dropper. Yeah.
We built a big trick ramp. And it was about 5 foot tall, like proper 45. So we were doing freestyle. At the same time as I had got the replacement Silver Fox frame, we started dabbling with ramps, and that's when I first got a ramp in my garden.
So go back a bit. Like where did you get into riding tricks after the racetrack? Like where did you see the freestyle? Did you go to that NEC event with Bob Harrow?
No. We didn't. We couldn't get. Well, I couldn't get Channel 4 because it was on Channel 4, and it was. We knew it was coming up, and it was like, I'm not going. And it just. I think I just missed it. Like for Channel 4 to actually be able to be broadcast.
It wasn't everywhere at first, was it?
Yeah. So I just missed it. So, but my friend, he videoed it. I think there was video.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
And we were just like, oh my god, this is just
mind blowing.
Yeah, that was just so different.
And is that where you got the idea for the trick ramp and that?
Yeah. And of course, in the magazines, obviously we were, like they had the plans for the Bob Harrow quarter pipe and a trick ramp. So, but we were just doing what we had. Yeah. Just making a ramp. I mean, the first quarter pipe I had was sort of like that, and about
a block on
4 foot high,
That's it, yeah.
And it was the guys who actually guys who opened up Aldershot BMX. It's Jeremy Rowe was a lad. He was 10 years old. He's still chat to him on Facebook and that occasionally. But his mum and dad opened up the BMX shop. And we went up to his house, it's just down the road from me, and we built a quarter pipe out of floorboards, just like
scraps,
yeah. We made this quarter pipe, and that was, by that point, I think I'd already got a set of Tufts, and my back Tuff blew. I just wanted a set of Tufts. And my back Tuff, like it wound in and
they kind of
just collapsed.
Yeah, they collapsed. Yeah.
So I borrowed a yellow Tuff. So I had this ropey old bike. I had a 09 number plate.
Yeah.
And we had about from here to the wall run up, and the ramp went. But I got out.
Yeah.
And it was like just about that big, that much inch out. And it's like, I got out of a ramp.
First day?
First day.
Wow, that's pretty good, yeah.
But obviously, you don't know.
Yeah, but still.
And so when I went home, the ramp got bigger. And it was only when, because it did go to sort of like a vert thing. And we used that same ramp. We got up because, it was just massive, BMX in Farnham. And we did the local fate, you know, like Weybourne Fate.
Like trick team?
Yeah, we did the trick team, and we had the T-shirts printed out, you know, from Aldershot BMX, and they kind of like sponsored us and stuff, and it was really cool. And that, you know, I started diverging from the racing. I still raced.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, I think it was all so fast that first year.
Yeah.
You know, like I was going through frames like nobody's business, and then, you know, like I got that frame back, cracked it again, went back to them, and they said, "Look, we're not going to replace it again.
Yeah.
You need something better." And I went up there with my dad, and they said, "I want a PK Ripper, just a frame."
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, deduct what that frame would be." We paid £60 for this PK Ripper frame. I was like, went home, put it all together, tried to put it all together. I didn't have the bushes for the rear, you know, the rear dropouts, you know, like, because
it's different size.
Yeah, it's a different. You had to have these steel washers, you know.
Like top hat sort of shape.
Yeah. And then of course seat post.
Yeah,
is like a 22 mil.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. So I couldn't ride it the first day, you know. Like I got it, so I had to wait.
What colour was it?
All burnished.
Oh, okay, yeah, classic.
Polished up.
I like the white as well. I thought that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the blue, I liked all of them.
Yeah. Black was nice as well.
But if you polish up that all burnished, it was
Yeah.
like chrome. It was just amazing.
With the blue stickers, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so. I was just in love with that thing.
So you had to go back and get the bits for that, I take it, and then.
Well, I started sort of like with Carl. I mean, Carl's like played a massive part. I started. There was another guy who lived, you know, like a few hundred yards down the road. Justin Mackey, his name was, and he had a Mongoose Pro class, and he was good.
Yeah.
And I mean, all at the same sort of time. There were spots that we were going to. We were going to Farnborough, you know, just us, you know, grommets and that, and riding with Justin, he introduced us to Carl, and you know, although I raced against Carl, you know, like, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm not speaking.
Yeah.
And then we used to go to this place called the Wall, and it's where you go and break a bike, you know, because it was so, you know, it's just a launch pad, and we went up there, and you know, you're just so involved, and you just progress so quickly. So I had this PK Ripper, and Justin had I think it must have been Justin, because he had a uni turbo seat post, and so, you know, like, got a bike running, and it was just amazing. And then I got landing gear lights because I couldn't afford proper landing gears.
I didn't even know there was a light. What's that then?
Just skinny.
Oh, slimmer legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lightweight, skinny forks. They didn't last long. Neither did the Ripper. That was.
Where'd you break the Ripper?
On the seat post.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
How long do you have that?
About 4 months.
Wow.
Oh, gutted.
So what happened? How do you remedy that? Like, so you're doing it. You're jumping it and doing airs. You're just thrashing it. Yeah.
I mean,
how old was you then? Like 15.
Yeah, 15.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all in that first year. You know, like, you're just trashing everything. You know, I learned 360. You know, like 360 pivots. You know, and, you know, like you start getting, you know, half decent.
You're spending your whole life on it. Yeah.
I was jumping. You know, I've got photos of the jumps that we were doing. You know, I was doing 1-footed jumps over this chasm thing, and you know, I say chasm, it's about 6 foot, but you know, and landing flat. You know, you're just trashing stuff at that sort of time. And then me and Carl started hanging out quite a lot. I know I was going to regionals as well. I was racing at regionals. I did Wimborne.
Oh, so you travelling already to ride?
Yeah.
But just race?
Just racing.
Yeah, okay. Because it's early, isn't it? There probably wasn't hardly any freestyle contests at this point anyway. So what other racetracks did you go?
I went to Wimborne, Hemel Hempstead. Oh, that was a bit late. I didn't actually race there, but Runnymede, Rockets. I remember Runnymede. I'll tell you what, I was just... Went to Wimborne. It was a coach, Farnham District put on a coach, and full up, you know, it was great. Sure it was Wimborne. I'm sort of might be mistaking stuff.
Was it near Bournemouth or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they had a set of doubles on the first, like come out of the gate and set of doubles. And I was, by this point, I was doing all right. I was like coming, second to Carl and all that sort of stuff. I even beat him once. And I took him out over the burn. And do you know what? He came over and he just goes, "Nice one." And you just thought,
no, not bad.
Yeah. Anyway, Wimborne, I'm out of my comfort zone. So I'm jumping the first set of doubles. And this other guy, and I can't remember his name now, but my open face helmet, no mouth trap, and he's jumped and he's crooked my arm, and I've just gone and done my chin in, and it's like, and I think really that sort of put me off racing.
Oh really?
Yeah. It really sort of like I didn't really enjoy that. I did my other motos and I didn't get through, because that first one I came last, but did Runnymede, and that was a bit scary as well. I couldn't speed jump to save my life. I can jump, but like pulling the wheel up and try and get over that speed jump, I just fucking nose bonk it, and then and that is it. You're stuffed. But all through that sort of time, like we're building jumps. I'm hanging out with Carl. I mean, the first time I started hanging out with Carl, he goes to me. He goes, "Oh, do you want to come and ride my quarter pipe?" And I'm like, "You've got a quarter pipe?" Yeah, it's in my garden. Yeah. We went round. He had a little racetrack around the garden, and a quarter pipe in the middle of it. It's like 6 foot high, 5 foot wide, like. Classic, and he's getting like 3-4 foot out of it.
Oh really? Yeah.
Styling it.
I didn't know. He could do that, yeah.
Oh yeah. He could air it.
Yeah.
He was good, and I'm just like, oh my god, how'd you do it? And that's first proper quarter pipe. And he goes, well, you sort of do a 180, but you're not doing a 180. You're not turning hardly. And he said, just don't turn as much as you think. And of course, 270 crash. Oh. And that's
first go, yeah.
First go, off. Straight off. But I could never really air his around. That was scary because it just really whippy.
Yeah.
It was like the old Skyway ramp with the blue stripe at the top. Really whippy.
Well, quarters back then were 6 foot tall, like you say, and if I remember rightly, in the plans to build them, it was touching vert.
Yeah.
So it's like it is whippy as hell.
Yeah. But of course, that quarter pipe that I built, that was not vert. It was vert and then not vert. So the ramp I made, I just added on and just extended the ramp in my garden, and so it was like just a completely wrong transition. But we were getting out of it, like 2 foot.
Yeah.
Me and
Carl. Is that the one that's like against the house?
Yeah.
I've seen pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, there was. That's like the first generation of a proper quarter pipe. I had a bit of angle iron on the top, just to give a bit of whip.
How many of you used to session that?
It was only me and Carl.
Oh, okay. And what about Carl? Was there people used to session his quarter pipe, or was it low key as well?
Yeah, that was low key. Yeah.
That's fucking impressive that he used to do airs and stuff. I just thought he was a race guy. Cause I've seen him about. I've never really known him,
and he just do it, decent style. Wow. Yeah, and smooth.
Yeah.
Like he should be. Yeah. But he was so fast around that track, and then and there wasn't that much run up really, but like he used to just. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh yeah. And it was. He took me to Ron.
First skate park you've been to?
First skate. I think it was the first. Yeah, it was the first skate park. Yeah, because I was on my Ripper, and I had some Arreos on it. You get the wheel swap and everything, and I had some black Arreos, and it was like we got off at Elm Park, rode through, and walked through the gate, and it was packed, sunny day, and it was like, oh my god. And then this lad's gone into the moguls, face plant, blood all over the place, he's laying at the bottom, and it's like, oh, oh yeah, no way. And Carl's like, come on. And he's just...
So he'd been there before, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he, you know, he was just awesome there, you know. It was... And that's what, you know, Marco was there. I mean, I just loved riding the Performance Bowl. And I got out of it there, and I was quite chuffed. And the Cigar Bowl, just jumping out.
Yeah, half pipe, yeah.
But you just went, do you know what? I like this.
This is me, yeah.
And of course, everybody's in the reservoir doing kick turns and, you know, Wiltons. And, you know, I think I think, was it then that came out?
Yeah, around that time, in 84, I think they came out. But everyone used to do one hand, one footers, didn't they?
One hand, one footers, one foot
X-ups, yeah.
And it's like, I need to get a coaster brake. I want to do kick turns. I want to get a coaster brake. I want to do rollbacks without the pedals going back.
Yeah.
And that's when I got a set of Tufts with the coaster brake, and that was it.
What bike was you on at this point?
I was, I was on a welded up. The Ripper went back and they welded it up, so I was on the Ripper, and I had to have that little thing on the, you know, the clamp thing, on the chain, on the chain.
Oh
stake,
that's
it. For the coaster,
the anchor or whatever it was called. Yeah.
And they, what was it? Yeah, it wasn't long after that I got a T8, but all second hand, you know, like nothing new. And I just went. I went down to the racetrack, you know, the 4-man racetrack, and it was like a Sunday or something. You know, nothing happening. It was a grim day, and I thought, perfect place to start learning kick turns. And this other bloke turned up. And he had a coaster brake as well. I'm like, I said, I've got a quarter pipe at home. Do you want to come and ride my quarter pipe? He said, yeah. Dave, his name is. And we rode the quarter pipe. He goes, I've got a quarter pipe at home as well. What? And he lived in, what was it? It was just outside of Farnham, right in the middle of nowhere. It's like 4 miles ride, 3.5, 4 miles ride, uphill. Oh, it was a nightmare. We were keen.
Yeah.
It was like 3 o'clock, and of course it's going to get dark. I'm like, I'll come round. And went round to his place. Dave Munt, his name was, and that was it. We were just freestyling then.
I reckon he's still about on Facebook, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that name. Yeah, come up. Yeah.
Yeah, he's living in the Isle of Wight now.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, he rides mountain bikes, so he's still around.
Still active.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
But he was like, me and him were the turning point of going from racing to, you know,
freestyle.
Then it started taking a back seat, the racing. That was it. We were just freestyling.
What any other quarters down there? What seemed like a few people had quarters on the go.
No, it's only us. We had, during that time with the PK, we moved that floorboard quarter down to a farm. One of the other lads, his granddad had a farm, and he let us have use of this big farmland area. We built jumps and we tried to make a track there, and put the quarter pipe there and the trick ramp there and that. And you know, if you avoided the cows, it was cool. But that was sort of like the impetus. But they all sort of just, I think it was probably 84. Everybody in my school, bar 2 people not in my year, gave up. We had, you know, like it was like you go to school, the bike sheds are full of BMXs.
Yeah.
You know, PK Rippers, you know, like Mongooses, you know, like all decent bikes. And then all of a sudden, none, you know, like.
That's early, wasn't it? 84 for that to have started.
It was just, you know, I got the piss taken out of me, something rotten. You know, like, why are you still riding a, you know, kid's bike and all that crap?
So in 84, was you 16 in 84?
Yeah, 15, you know.
Okay, so you're still 15 at this point.
Yeah, 16, okay. yeah. And it was all, like I say, it was all really quick for me.
Yeah.
You know, it was all jam-packed in. But that meeting with Dave, he was, you know, I was just coming up to leaving school. And of course, I was thinking, you know, what am I going to do? You know, all I want to do is ride my bike.
Yeah.
And of course, Mum said, "You've got to get a job," you know. And I was so jealous of Dave because, you know, he had another year and a half at school.
Oh, he's younger than you, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
he was tall, you know, like he looked older for his age. But I was small for my age, you know. But you know, we just hit it off, and then we met Chris Laney and
another name I recognise,
and
well.
Darren Walsh, and that's when we all started, and we were all freestyle. So we started. What was it? I think was it 84.
So that's your first freestyle crew. That's your gang then. Like that's the first one away from the racetrack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we were going down. It all started. Just all the ramp business all just started up, and was it? Dave decided to make a quarter pipe, and he had quite a big. You know, his mum and dad had quite a big property, and I went into his. He had a big double garage. You know, like lovely place, and he'd drawn out on the floor this template. You know, like for the sides of a quarter pipe he was going to make. And his dad was in the building trade, and he got all this. He had all this marine ply all stacked up, ready for him. You know, he's got this 2x4s. You know, like I went round there, and it was 9-foot transition, and for then
it was a big one.
That's a big ramp,
huge.
And he said, "Oh, this is brilliant. It's just typical Dave." He goes, "Oh, I'm not doing it like Bob Harrow's, you know, because you get the kinks." He said, "I'm doing a radial design." So you had that and then just radial, you know, like supports. So you've got no joints like that. And like double skinned or triple skinned.
So how did he build the tranny though?
So he had two, he did three bits of, 2 bits of 2x4 as a right angle. And then he'd already drawn out the transition he wanted, which
so he cut the transition like the new style of doing it.
No. Well, he just drew it on the floor, and so he just did the radial pieces that met up with it, and then cross members joining all because he had three.
So then you get a better curve.
Yeah.
I know what you mean
3 sections. Yeah. It was, and he made it 8 foot wide. It was like, man.
Well, that was 84.
Yeah, 84,
so
85.
That was far ahead, wasn't it? That.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone's quarter pipes were like dunk, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like
This was that lasted. You know, like as a side, that lasted. I had that ramp still in 91, 92.
Oh wow!
And then it went up to the new Farnham BMX track and stood up there, and I replied it, and it was there for everybody to ride. And then some scrope burnt it down. But it was...
It lasted forever,
was amazing.
Much,
It was such an amazing... And he gang nailed it all together. You know, like all the supports, all gang nailed. He said, "Oh no, that's the way to do it."
Solid, yeah, not moving.
It was brilliant. And anybody who rode it, you know, they was like, "Oh my God." And 2 inches of it, just... In my garden, I had to put a bit of guttering on the top just to give that little extra because
a little bit of kick.
It was a bit of a downhill run, and it's sort of like, you know, you needed that little bit of kick, but you know, you could get 9 foot out of it at my house.
Out of yours?
Yeah, my house. Yeah, it was a bit sketchy because you had the greenhouse one side and the brick wall the other. But
you learnt to air on your quarter pipe then?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was.
And who used to go to Dave's? Was that a bit of a scene?
Me, Chris, and Chris, Darren.
Just a few of you.
It was just 3 of us.
So that was all that was left on BMXs then.
I could get like, you're always pushing, and they got 7 foot on it. I mean, this is like early.
Yeah.
Then we, and of course we had a bit of an advantage because it was a big ramp. You know, you could go to Farnborough and they had the half pipe there. When we first went to Farnborough, it didn't have the flat bottom, you know, it was just like tight. And if the skaters caught you on, you get a skate.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, yeah.
You know, but then they moved it around the other side. And at the same time, there was a guy there, I can't remember his name now, but he had a fully tricked out Haro freestyler. And he rode exactly like Bob Haro. He could do the 540 kick turns. He could do, you know, everything that Bob Haro, you know, was doing. You know, he was just like his clone. But he wouldn't talk to anyone. There's no way. You know, like you know.
He used to ride that half pipe there. Or?
No, he wouldn't. Nobody was allowed to ride.
So who were the skateboarders that were like? So the
Sean Goff made it.
Was completely no flat bottom.
Yeah, no flat bottom, concrete coping.
Yeah, Paul coping. Yeah,
yeah, Paul coping.
And the skaters was Sean Goff, was it? Or he built it.
Ian Cocking.
I remember that name.
Yeah. He was, you know, and he was one of, you know, I don't know who the other skaters were actually, but I got, you know, got friendly with Ian, down the years. Yeah. But no, if you were caught on that, you did get a skateboard.
Because they were young and you was younger, so
yeah. Nothing but skaters. Yeah. On that ramp. And you sort of like, you'd be looking around and you go, go on, quick. And you'd be going,
and you should hack off.
Yeah. You'd have to go because you would get a slap.
Crazy.
But it was good fun.
And that was, that half pipe was there in like 84, 85?
Yeah.
Wow.
And because that was around, they moved it around the corner, but where it was more recently.
Yeah.
They had 2 kick turn ramps. So that's where all the BMXs and, you know, what have you, you know, that's where...
They moved it into the BMX zone.
Yeah, they moved it to... Yeah. But it was when because they expanded it and, you know, because it was only like 12 foot wide.
Yeah. Originally.
But that was like, you know, you're thinking, oh my God, you know. But I didn't like riding it anyway. You know, even when...
Well, it's real quick, and if there's no flat bottom there.
It was real quick, and you didn't really get, you know, we didn't really get it, and you know, we had our own ramps and that, so you know, it was just you go there for a laugh and you know, do a bit of flatland because it was nice and smooth, you know, flat. But of course, we're all sort of like we started hearing about competitions coming up, and then you know, we heard about there was this competition in Petworth. But it was on grass and it was a bit of a non-event. And then the next one was Hole Shot.
First Hole Shot.
The first Hole Shot.
British champs or something. It was billed over first,
Yeah, and I don't think we went. I can't remember the first one I did. It was the next year, I think.
Rich Segura and Ron Wilkerson, I think, were in the second one.
Yeah, the first.
So you would, that would have been like Whole Shot. So if you didn't ride that first, did you not go and watch either?
I think I did ride.
You rode the first one.
I did.
Craig won the first one, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't qualify.
Oh, okay.
It was ramps and flatland.
Yeah, that's
combined,
it. Yeah,
and I couldn't do after. Well, you know, I could do the tricks, but I couldn't do them, you know, like proficiently enough. But then I can't remember whether Edenbridge was before that, and that was a big turning point. I think it was after. After Edenbridge, 85. That was
okay.
And of course, with Edenbridge, me, Dave, Chris, and Darren, we had to go. Edenbridge is nice to get to. You have to go up to Clapham Junction or East Croydon and then come back down. And it's funny because I work near Edenbridge now, you know. Yeah. So, and we got to East Croydon, and there was a load of guys on BMXs, and they're all loud and leery and everything like that. And we started chatting, and that was Zoid, Dean Rush, and all the Crawley mob.
I was going to ask you about
Steve Abershaw, you know. And that's where we became friends, and you know,
that day was all going to Edenbridge National.
It was all going to the National.
Oh wow!
It was on a Sunday, and they, you know, like it was all delayed trains and all this sort of stuff. And you get to Edenbridge, it was just like this station in the middle of bleeding nowhere. It's like almost the end of the line. You know, like you got Edenbridge and I think East Grinstead, and you know, like it was just like. It's pretty mad.
So that was a national as well, was it?
No, it was Edenbridge was a regional.
Okay.
I think it was a regional.
So I remember that, like, that's quite a famous one, isn't it, for some reason?
Yeah, but you had Pepe there, you had Jess Dornforth there, you had Robert, Neil.
Yeah.
And it was just mad. And it's a small sports centre. I've been there since, to the swimming pool, and the swimming pool's, really small as well. But it's just, you just think, to have that there. I mean, obviously they did because Colin Kefford lived there.
Okay.
But you had, sorry, his son. Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, my
son,
Simon Kefford. Yeah. And his mate
Colin. Oh no, Trevor Cowell. Yeah.
But you had all the people, all the crew from Southsea, and of course me and Dave, we were going down to Southsea quite a lot.
All right.
We had all these things going on at the same time. We had a spot in Alton, this sports centre that on the all-weather courts, and we got a quarter pipe built there, and we were going there. We were going to Southsea. I mean, we were just going.
You was doing it, yeah.
We were just going everywhere.
That's when you discovered that crew of people who built that quarter pipe, and then you've got your gangmen, and then you're out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we just went everywhere then, and of course Edenbridge south. So we went there. We didn't really want to go up north or anything. Any events. That was a little bit too far.
That's quite early for you. Still quite young at that point, though, to go right up there. So.
Yeah, for the other kiddies as well. Because I was kind of old enough. But
so was Edenbridge the first real BMX contest you saw?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think it must have been. I mean,
whole shot obviously, but
yeah. I mean,
that's more of a that's big time, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you go into whole shot and it's just this is just
it's a who's who, isn't it? Yeah.
Nobody knows anybody apart from it, and you're just watching all the top pros, all the riders riding.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Can you remember who was riding good at Edenbridge?
Oh yeah.
Was that just an eye opener, seeing all of those guys, or?
Yeah, but
was you guys already going that high because of that quarter pipe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing one-footed X-ups, and I met Carlo there as well. That's the first time I met Carlo. We was in the practice outside in the car park, and we just hit it off. He's a young kiddie, but BMX wise, and he was rad.
Yeah.
And and we were just all chatting. Andy Brown.
Oh, he was there as well.
Yeah.
So everyone was there pretty much.
Yeah, well, they did a ramp room, and I think we went to a ramp room first, and they had the Rickman ramp.
What was that then? A practice area?
It was just like a indoor little ramp session. You go and pay to.
What, every week?
Yeah. I think you'd go. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it was called the ramp room.
Okay.
And they had the Rickman ramps because that was it. The Rickman ramps were at Whole Shot.
All right.
I think it was the first Whole Shot, and we'd gone there, and we quite liked the ramps. That was quite cool, and that was it. And then they got those ramps down in the ramp room, but the Edenbridge competition itself, that was just they were Vincent. I think they were Vincent ramps. I'm not sure.
If they were BFA, was it BFA? It probably was.
It was before that. UK
pre-BFA.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was UK. Yeah, it was UK BMX Freestyle.
Okay.
It was early.
Yeah. Skyway had ramps, I think, then, didn't they?
Yeah, it might have been. But
Skyway had ramps, definitely.
Yeah. But you had Jester and forth, and he was, funny, Neil wasn't there, actually. Neil wasn't.
Oh, Robert was there, but not Neil.
Robert, and he just had. Well, Peppy was there. Dave Slade.
Okay.
I was, you just got the video. I still got it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. But it was just such a, such a brilliant time, because we'd been meeting with Vince Gregory from Southsea and a lot of the other Southsea crew, and it was just, we just all met up there, and everybody was just.
His explosion, yeah.
Yeah. It was just a good start.
Yeah.
And I just learnt no foot one-handed airs.
Oh, okay.
And I did that, and like nobody else was doing them, and I sort of like that's when I sort of got a little bit of a name to me. But obviously, again, it was you had to do compulsories.
Yeah, that's it.
And your routine was ramps and flat, and I think I came fourth in that. Dave came. He might have won it. I think he might have come second in his group.
Yeah?
In the group.
So it's a younger group, yeah.
But he got 6 foot. He was doing foot plants, like toe right to the top of the ramp with a coaster brake. Oh, it was just amazing. He was so rad, and he did bar endos.
Okay, yeah.
And
that was fresh out, yeah.
He was doing styles, and he was up and coming on that.
Yeah, interesting. I've heard that Eden Bridge contest a load of times. Yeah, Beveridge was there as well, right?
Dave was there.
Okay.
Didn't speak to him there, but
So I wonder, was he riding for Vincent then, or was this? Yeah,
no, I don't think
pre Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay. Pepe was it Pepe on Amico maybe?
Pepe was on Amico.
Yeah.
I think he was. Yeah, definitely.
And what bike was you riding at that point?
I was on a TA.
Oh, okay.
I had a Chrome TA.
I think there's pictures of you online at that contest then, I think. I've seen some pictures of you indoors when you look really young.
Yeah, I don't think I've been.
It might have been the ramp room or something.
Yeah, they might have had screen grabs from it. I don't know. But I did 1-footed X up, no foot one-hander, and then I was so chuffed because you could pre-order the video. And we all got the video, and I've still got it at home. But in the background, near the set on the chairs, when I'm doing the no foot one, Jesse's going, "Oh my god!"
Oh really? Yeah.
Oh, Jess,
because Jess didn't even go to that many contests either. He was saying, I think he didn't really like them, but that must have been early days.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing I think it was 6 foot one, Eddie airs, and, It was just.
And what about the bike shop? Was that still Aldershot BMX? Was that still going? Or?
No, I think it was just they couldn't continue.
Was it just BMX they sold?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They might have done a few,
random bikes,
roller skates or something like that, but they couldn't carry on.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, actually, in between that time, when I was sort of starting to get better. There was I needed a frame, and they'd made some deal, and I don't know what it was, but I got one of the Rickman Freestylers.
Okay, yeah, I remember them there.
And they had a photo of me getting this Rickman Freestyler from got it from Rickman.
Yeah.
And it was like the CEO or something like that, shaking my hand, giving me this frame, like I was in the local paper and all that sort of stuff. I didn't break that. I think I just swapped it.
Oh wow!
But I think I just went on to a TA after that.
Because they were like brazed or something, weren't they? They were like a different world.
Yeah, they were Reynolds tubing, and they were brazed.
Yeah.
The dimensions, and they were.
Yeah, they weren't very pretty.
They weren't very good.
Yeah.
The bars weren't very good. I got frame forks and bars, and they had. I think they had, like the shark tooth. Welded on bits.
I remember on the platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit. It was, don't get me wrong. It was.
Yeah, it was cool, but
it was nice, but it wasn't right.
Yeah.
But that must have been before that. I think I just sort of like about 6 months before. So, like I say, it just happened so quick.
Yeah.
And we just got good so quick. But then when you got that big ramp to ride, we just pushed it.
South Sea, how did you discover that?
It was Dave. Because Carl's more of a ROM man, and South Sea was Dave. Dave said to me, his mum was cool. They drive me anywhere.
Okay.
And I didn't really have school friends. with the BMX thing.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah.
That was it. You know, like
you get alienated, and you just like.
Yeah. I was not. You know. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't. This friendly with anybody, and then with me. But like it. When you get the piss taken out of you,
it splits you into. Yeah.
You just
at
go.
That age,
well,
you're very young, and you're sensitive, and you're like.
Yeah.
You're not ready to take that shit from people. Like.
And finding Dave, and we were just like, we were best buddies.
Yeah, no, for me, it was. I found some guys at Chingford that still rode BMX when none of my friends rode, and that was the same thing. I was like, well, I don't need other people now.
Yeah.
These guys. So it sounds like similar to what you.
And the fact is, it just opened up everything.
Yeah, your world expanded.
Yeah, it was just amazing at that age, to get that sort of expanse.
Yeah.
So we were staying at each other's houses, and like we were going to go riding here, there, and everywhere. And his mum, remember she had one of those Maestros, and she'd drive us down to Southsea. And we Friday night, I'm staying at Dave's house. He said, "Oh, we'll go to Southsea tomorrow." Oh yeah, brilliant, and or Sunday or whatever, Yeah. And she'd take us down there, whatever the weather, and we'd risk it, whether it's going to be snowing or raining or whatever. And because we were quite good, we, you get accepted down there. I mean, it can, any of these places can be quite tribal, can't they?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
But, Dave was that good. He sort of like opened the doors for us, because he was better than me.
Yeah.
Saying that, he was just, he was just a good guy to be with. You could go places with him.
Yeah.
And he was quite young. Who
was the guys that were good at Southsea at this point?
You had Vince Gregory, Carl.
Westfield.
Carl Westfield, Mark Likely. Although he was just coming up, like he wasn't that, but lovely guys, he was sort of like part of the crew that weren't involved with the better guys.
Yeah.
But obviously, you just start getting better and better, and we, it was again, it's just that you rode with each other, and you just got better by accident.
You're fueling each other's fires.
Yeah, totally. Everybody sort of felt the same. It was just it's like with Rom. If you went to Rom, you'd have really good people. They wouldn't give you the time of day, and it's the same as Southsea. The same anywhere.
Yeah, well, you got
at the time.
Once you've got to go there a few times to sort of before
and
open up a bit.
I mean, the best thing is when you've been going a few times and you walk in and you just go right from a local and you're like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool. I'm sort of getting accepted now.
Did you go to that King of the Skate Parks at Southsea?
Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah.
Oh man, no, don't go. We was all going down with the Crawley mob as well, I think. And I was going.
It was in the middle of '85. It was summer of '85.
Yeah. So we were hanging out in Crawley. We were hanging out in Southsea and that. And Dave started getting a bit disenchanted with BMXing. It's just that age, I suppose. Yeah. But he wasn't backwards in coming forwards, and he said to me the night before Southsea, the comp, because we were looking forward to watching, all the pros, top guns, and he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna paint my face white." I'm like, "Well, what?" He goes, "Yeah," and he did.
He painted his face white.
He did white face, and we walked in, and everybody's just going, "What the fuck is he on?" And he, just walked around with a white face, sunglasses, You still see photos of him with the white face.
Okay, I've never noticed. Yeah, I'm going to look for that.
Yeah. And they just thought he'd lost the plot. And, I thought he'd lost the plot.
What was the story then?
Don't know. just to stand out.
A bit,
yeah, just to do what the fuck I want to do.
Fucking hell.
We were both into, sort of the Clash
alternative
and sort of,
music.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about music as well.
And he was getting into, he was getting into a rebellious stage.
He was getting deep, yeah. Okay.
And he did start not, from that point on, he did start not coming to Crawley with me. He
was getting into other stuff.
Yeah, he was getting into other stuff. Yeah. It was just, that was it really. With, we just sort of drifted apart.
Yeah,
we kept in touch.
Happens, yeah. And what was the South Sea? Was that contest? Did you think that was good or?
Man,
amazing. It weren't no good if you went your way though, was it?
No. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, how many times I've been down South Sea? I will not. I started riding that bowl, the main bowl, when it didn't have the vert on.
Okay.
And I got about 5 foot, I suppose, maximum 6 foot maybe. I hated it. And when they put that on there, the vert section, and I'm just thinking, and you see Jess alley-oop that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is respect.
Yeah.
But Craig and Neil, I mean, God, it is just insane.
Yeah, there's something else. I still see photos that I haven't seen from that day that they seems like they're going higher than the previous photo that I see that day. It's weird, yeah.
And unless you've ridden that bowl, you don't know how, scary and difficult it is, and but Neil in that was just insane. He was just
both of them I thought were amazing. Like,
I mean it was
neck and
nip and tug, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Neil's one of my favourite riders.
Yeah.
Anyway, like from BMX Beat, seeing it. I mean, coming home from school. I mean, I was still at school, and we just got a video recorder, and it was on at a sort of lunchtime.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'd have it recorded. It's like, oh my God, I've got it, and it was just
set the timer.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
One didn't, I think.
Okay.
It's all that sort of, that era. It was just that pushing, and you just totally fully engaged.
So at this point, you're fully going. If you're doing 6 foot airs out of like that bowl when it didn't have that extension on it, you're far in.
So I had a GT Performer then.
Oh, okay.
I'd swap with something because that's what you do down the skate park. You go down and swap a frame. And I think I swapped my PK Ripper, which I'd sprayed blue, for a GT Performer, and that was it. And I didn't really get on with the Performer, but it was, it wasn't cracked like the PK was, So the guy who, he got a bad deal, but he got PK, that's something. And everybody did it. But I've got pictures, of me doing 6 inches air out of that, and it was just horrible.
Yeah,
it was just, you had to really, porky pull out.
Yeah, it looked slack as,
Yeah, and of course there was no way I was going to be touching that vert wall.
Yeah.
So, it just, seeing those pros, and you think, that's why they're pros. Doing that in there, that is just totally insane. And, there's no way I'd alley-oop that. No way. And then, of course, Carl Westfield.
He was going off the shallow bit,
right? Yeah, he was rad as fuck. All of them were down there, but that's a problem if you're just there, you are, you're acclimatised to it, but going somewhere else gets a bit.
You've got to go through it all over again, really. When they're that specific.
And it's an odd place, Southsea.
So also it's wrong, I think. Like they're both completely obscure. They're not like each other, are they? In any way. So if you're local there, you go there and it's totally different. I just wonder why they did that at Southsea. Just seems like a weird skate park to do it at.
I know,
because of that extension and that.
Yeah, I think it might have had a lot to do with Pete Hawkins.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, maybe that was a good idea to take it there, because would he even have been aware that they air a certain direction. I don't know. Probably would have been, wouldn't it? Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, interesting. Huh?
You know, because if you look at pipeline, you know, that's like, you know, a good 1.5 foot, 2 foot of vert, I suppose. You know, but that was you know, maybe transferring it to that. I don't know if Craig had been there or.
Don't think he went until later on in the year. I think, if maybe my timeline's a bit off. So you weren't sponsored though at this point in time, like.
No. I was going to Alton quite a lot, and we built around there. You know, it's all about the same sort of time. You know, I'm just coming up to leaving school and stuff. And there was a guy in Alton. He had a little BMX shop above, you know, like second floor, tiny little place. OP Racing or something. Owen Patterson his name was. And he had a shop, and I got some stickers and that off him, and he got a T-shirt and that. And then we had a ramp. We built a ramp there, and it was in the middle of a field, and it was just, that was probably, you know, the start of really progressing. Dave had moved. I think, you know, Dave had moved to Alton by this point. So I think at that time of Southsea they were going to be moving, and that maybe that had something to do with, you know, like the freak out of everything. But he'd moved to Alton, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll be going to Alton. And I met a couple of guys, Jeff Cannons and Andy. Jeff had a G. He was like an Eddie Fiola lover, yellow GT, you know, it was Eddie Fiola's bike. And Andy, he was more into flatland, and he had a pro red line freestyler, you know, the
RL20 or whatever it was.
Yeah. I never could have. Steep head,
they were weird.
It was horrible as well. But they sort of like, you know, again, you know, we'd met those guys a few months before, me and Dave, and you know, they invited us up there, and you know, they had something basic, and we just made the ramp bigger, you know, like better. And that ramp, God bloody hell, I started getting, you know, 8-9 foot out of it, you know, that same year. And of course, because of Neil, one footed look backs.
That's what I was going to ask you about, 1 footed look backs.
Yeah, that's where I learnt that. No fitted can-cans. I did you know, it was an accident. And this was before it came out in the magazine, you know, Dominguez.
Oh, no foot can-can,
Yeah. So I was doing no foot one-handers and all that. Like, you know, I was styling it up. And of course, I still had the coaster brake, and I did a can-can, trying to stretch it out, and I knocked my foot off. And like, ran down the ramp, and I thought, hang on a minute. So I went up, and no fitted can-can. I was sort of like, you know, riding for Owen, and I had his T-shirt and that, and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to Hemel Hempstead racetrack. They got a quarter pipe up there."
Yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, do you want to come up there and, you know, like, you know, wear my T-shirt and that, and you know, I said, yeah, all right, you know. So we drove up there, and Carl was there, and you know, like, I start riding the quarter pipe, and Jason Lund was there, and he was also at Edenbridge as well, you know, so you sort of knew him.
Yeah.
And I'm sat there, and you know, Carl knew what I'd done the no foot can-can.
Yeah. What was, so people that were around that no foot can-can, like, what was they thinking of that?
Well, there weren't anybody there. It was just
like two of you or something.
It was I was with I was just some girls there that I was showing off to. And,
oh really?
Yeah, and just some you know, a couple of grommets, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just I just thought, oh yeah, I'll try it. I used to just ride there by myself.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant place.
So Lunny's seen you doing no foot can-can.
Well, Carl goes, we're sat up near the trick ramp, you know, the run up, and Carl comes flying over, and he said, "Hey, all right, mate." And so, you know, so then it's a bit of kudos for me, you know, like that, you know, because they know who Carl was. And Carl sort of like, you know, loudly go, you know, he goes, "Why don't you do no foot can-can?" And Lund goes, What? I goes, "Yeah, all right." And Lund goes, "No fit can-can?" He goes, "Yeah." Go on then. So I went and did it. First time anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it was just over the top.
Tickle over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And came down and no way, and Lance, do it again. I want to watch this.
Even like you say, I know you've done it so far now, but like back then, when you've never seen anyone do that, like you're blown away. Like no matter how far over, if it's just over.
You just get, like your top tube's there, and you just, your tiptoes could be over.
So you got you to do it again.
Yeah, did it again, and of course then I goes, I can do it one-handed.
But you hadn't done it one-handed, no?
No. Well, I could do no foot one-handed easy, so I thought it's worth a go. Bearing in mind, you're probably getting about a foot out, 6 inches out or something. So I go on then. So that was the first time.
Oh, you did it?
I did it. Yeah. I did one and just.
Oh, I thought you was going to say you ate shit or something.
Yeah, the second one I ate shit.
Oh, okay. What bad?
I grazed up knees.
Oh, okay.
No knee pads, of course, But no, I was,
Wow.
So, yeah. And then I think it was
was that year, winter that year, that you had the Dominguez picture.
Yeah, and then I think it was a few weeks later. Because it was, I think it was probably like September or something that I went up there and did it. I think it was only a few weeks later. And it came out and it was like, A, oh bugger.
Yeah, it was high as well, wasn't it?
But B,
fuck
me. That was just, that's how you do it. That's how
it's like Eric was saying, that like everyone was, it didn't matter where he was in the world really, that all the things were going on at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
That's just how it progressed, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
Fucking hell. So had you seen, at this point in time, how many times had you seen Neil Ruffle ride? I know he's one of your favourite riders.
I think...
Saw him at Southsea.
I saw him at Southsea. I saw him at Red Hill. I think they did a show at Red Hill. I'm not sure if, I'm not sure about that. But whole shot.
So the second hole,
was it?
The one that Pepe won? I think Pepe won the second one.
Yeah.
And they weren't happy about it, Ruffles.
Yeah. I don't...
I remember saying about it in the mag, because I wasn't there, so I don't know.
But timeline-wise, I only saw him ride a few times, But I think, just Southsea was good enough.
What was the story of, like, I think it was you that used to say, that was when he used to open the doors to get more speed into the quarters?
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was Carlisle.
Oh, okay.
I think that was
later on.
Yeah, that was... It was funny because it went so fast.
Yeah.
Because of that thing with Jess, Edenbridge, Nick Phillips and Jess had taken an interest in me, and of course the Crawley crew, and then No Foot the Can, and all that.
So
all
things
that
were building.
Yeah, things were building, and I was getting a bit of a reputation on the ramps. I guess, and Jess invited me. He said, "Oh, we'll come down to Crawley and do a photo shoot." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool." And I can't remember. I think Mud Machine was sort of involved at this point. I think I just had a little bit of a deal with Mud Machine. Okay. I got a Dyno, one of the first Dynos.
Was you sponsored by Dyno? Yeah, because that was the first one I saw.
Yeah, it wasn't Dyno, but it was Mud Machine.
Okay.
So I gave them my bike, and then I got a Dyno, my GT.
Yeah.
And I got a Dyno, and because I was up and coming, it made sense, I guess. And then I went Crawley and Nick Phillips, TLB, and
so that was
just
Crawley,
all that stuff was Crawley. Yeah, it's at the boys' club in Crawley.
The Zoid.
Yeah.
Nick Phillips and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you notice that I didn't give you name checks on them pictures?
I know.
What? Because I remember
I was gutted.
I remember getting that feature, and I didn't know that it was Nick Phillips at the time either. But I just remember seeing because I don't think they name checked him possibly either.
No.
But I remember so there's a Zoid feature.
It was all about Zoid, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, because there's a dude that I've never seen that's going high out of his quarter, and it was just like, well, where's the name? And I didn't know for years that and probably way into the 90s until it was you, until then.
I was gutted.
And then same with Nick Phillips. I only just realised, it's actually Nick Phillips in that. Yeah.
I was gutted. About
Weird, odd thing to do.
It's, I don't know why. I really don't know why.
But that feature was good. It's really memorable, wasn't it? It's stupid because it was a Zoid feature, but it was still a memorable feature that had. Well, if you listen to some of the other interviews, they're trying to get a vibe across that's not sports hall related stuff, and I could see that was still pretty cool, I thought it was good.
It was awesome, just to have that, I've got a picture in the magazine, wow, I was just chuffed.
That was the first picture you had, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was two decent pictures, weren't there?
Yeah, but then you saw I was the same, why didn't they put...
Yeah.
But who am I to say, it was just nice to have that.
Who else was there that day?
Everyone. Well, all the
Dean Rush?
Dean Rush was there. They didn't ride.
Jess was there. Yeah.
Jess was there.
Okay.
G'ing us up, and then of course Nick Phillips, said to me, he goes, if you do no fitted can. I'll give you a roll of anarchic adjustment stickers. I said, yeah, all right. So I did it about 6 foot high this time, and I totaled, knee job. Yeah. I didn't,
Did you get stickers?
Yeah.
Just wondered if he held true to his word.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Good.
But that was cool. I was chuffed with that. But then it went a bit sour with Mud Machine.
I was going to ask you that as well, because then you had a couple of photos that I still knew was the same guy, but maybe this is when I realised it was you actually.
Yeah.
You was in the A to Z of BMX Freestyle, remember that?
Yeah.
I think you had a picture doing 1-footed look back maybe.
I think so. I can't
and it said something about Mike Canning has gone from doing 10-foot airs. Do you remember this quote?
Yeah.
To surfers waving at the crowd. I was like, what?
Yeah, because that's when I got on Skyway.
Okay, so all right, so they weren't happy with you being on Skyway. Oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
No,
because Skyway and Mud Machine were arch enemies, weren't they?
Well, there's a little bit of a drama because when I got the bike, when I got the Dyno, I had to turn up and then I gave them my bike and. Because they used to sell GTs, they'd get them sprayed up, candy apple, whatever.
Yeah.
And of course they took my bike and they gave me the Dyno.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't come with the bars. The bars were missing. And so I had to have a set of bars. And I said, well, I need some bars. And they said, well, we'll give you some action zones, but you'll have to pay for them. I said, well, I ain't got any money, And they said, well, you can pay us back. So I got some action zone bars. And I didn't pay them. And so they were putting out, when I got onto Skyway, they were putting out their double spread adverts and they were, all around, handwritten around the edges of the adverts. Mike Cannon, pay your money or die, and slagging me off,
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah. And
that was Mud Machine?
Yeah, that was Mud Machine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And from what I gather, Pete got involved and threatened them, with action if they didn't, libel or something like that. I saw Dave Curry a few years later, and I told him that story, and he goes, "Oh, why didn't they just say I would have given you a set of bars?" And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that crap over a set of bars.
Yeah, it wasn't about the bars, was it? It was about Skyway. When you look back now, as an adult, you see that they was not,
Yeah, and I saw, we sort of.
But once people
diverged.
Start posting that up, once it's only going to make the situation worse, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're posting that, you're seeing that, and going, "Well, fuck you."
I mean, when they did that, they say I'm, swapping.
Yeah,
doing. It was just, we pissed ourselves.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And of course, then it just spurs you on.
Yeah. Yeah, we was all much younger then, fucking a lot more angry. So
Yeah.
fucking shit happens like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit of dead Kennedys, and
throw some more fuel on the fire. And there ain't no backpedaling, is there?
No, man, no.
So then you start riding for Skyway.
Well, I was liaising with Carlo quite a lot, going down to his gaff and doing all my bits and pieces. But Carlo pretty much got me on Skyway. I was staying at his house, and he kept on saying to me, "Oh, you got to sponsor him, And then they finally did a regional competition in Farnham at the sports centre, just where the racetrack used to be, because that had moved up to the top of the, like as an 8-man track, like proper European, standard track. And but to have the comp in Farnham, it was just like, oh right, I'm gonna fucking go. I'm sort of jumping ahead, because I went up to with the Dyno, I went up to Carlisle, and I had those white wheels, like
from same as the bike in the mag, yeah.
And that's when I saw Neil, open the doors, and he's just amazing puppet air,
Yeah, I think
like grip is here, one end.
That was the Who Won It feature, I think.
Yeah.
It was Carlisle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Neil was just, because he was on whole shot then.
That's it. Yeah.
And he was just.
Yeah, because he had something to prove against Skyway as well. At that point in time. So
yeah. I mean, if you think, they were both rare riders. They're different riders. And you can't, it's difficult to judge. But you have a favourite.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you can't judge. It's just like, unless it's like something that they're doing something completely different, but like they all do pretty much the same tricks.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty difficult.
I mean, and that's the other thing, my thing was ramps. I was crap at flatland. I tried.
Yeah.
That's all you get. I made an effort. But you see them, Carlo, Craig and Neil, and they were fucking all the latest flatland tricks they were doing. And you just, that is, to me, there was no way I was ever going to be competing on that sort of level. So I had to try and do it on the ramps just, alone. And so, the best thing that happened was when they separated it.
That's what Eric said as well, yeah.
If you... Because what you used to do is, because I was entering these competitions, and, I'd be coming like 7th, 8th, 9th,
Because you couldn't ride flat.
Yeah, and then you look on the scores, and I was first on ramps.
That's it, yeah. It's the same as Eric had the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But you come last because you only had one score.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was, but that's what it was. That's the way it was. That's how they,
Yeah, that's what they thought it should be like. It was early days, wasn't it?
He wanted it, Colin Kefford wanted it more like gymnastics, I guess. Like that overall aspect. And, when you got people getting better on ramps.
And the age of riders is getting like to that point where they're like, nah, man, we can see a different viewpoint of this stuff. So you went to Mons. Was you on that dyno when you went to Mons?
I can't remember because I knocked myself out twice there.
Oh, at Mons, yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare there. I went with the Crawley crew.
So you went to the first one or the second one? Or both?
I think it was the one with Andy Shahara, I think.
I think he was at both.
I did.
Maybe.
I did the Mons Jam when Dave.
Yeah, 91. Yeah, that was later. Yeah.
But then I think the Mons, that one was when they burnt all their licenses.
The second one. Yeah.
I didn't go to. I didn't go to the first one. No, that was a bit of a half pipe, coaster brake.
Yeah.
Tombstone. All the things that I hate, and I had to prove, like that. had to prove myself, that I could ride, and of course, like I'm doing a transfer off the tombstone, 1-footed invert, a couple of foot above the tombstone, I suppose. And then again, it's, I've had this happen quite a lot, but I get about an hour before the comp starts, and I'm just having a, final practice before the whole thing starts, and I just pull out, nosedive, face. Of course, everybody's, doesn't want to wear a lid, so, but I had an open face helmet and I was wearing that. But face plant, broken nose, peg in the back of the head, and mine had great fun in just putting a bandage around my head and, like, all right. I'm not sure, I think that was just practice because that was on the Saturday and we was camping there. And we went to the pub, which was like a few miles down the road or something. I didn't remember much, but, we got back and I was in the tent with Chris, I think. And then they pulled the tent down and dragged us, dragged us along. So, we didn't get much sleep. Again, this is like this mud. I think I'd left my machine. It was a bit of a thing. And then the next day was the day of the comp. Nose all blown up, and I'm thinking, I don't feel too bad. I'm not that concussed now. I'll have a bit of a practice. Yeah, road. Half hour before the comp, final run. I did exactly the same thing. Pulled out, nosedive, face plant, and I fucked myself again.
Oh man!
I didn't get the peg in the back of the head this time. But
tenderised nose part 2, like.
Oh, it was.
Dean Rush, he crashed there as well, didn't he?
No, I don't think it was there. I think that was Chingford.
No, he crashed at Chingford. I thought he crashed at Mons.
He might have done. I don't know. I wanted him to crash, I suppose.
What side of the fence was Dean Rush on in this mud machine Skyway thing?
Machine.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we sort of didn't get along after that, I don't think.
Oh, crazy.
Not for any, kids.
Kids, yeah.
I mean, I was 16, 17, he was, 15, 16.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the way it is, yeah.
Yeah, There was points to prove on both sides,
Yeah, no, but that's the beauty of being fucking young, isn't it? Like, you're just pissed off with each other. So, also noticed that you was quite early doing the 540, so that was after seeing Eric.
Yeah.
That was the spark for that, was it? I watched a BFA contest, and in your practice run, you did a 540 and pulled it, and then you didn't pull it in the final one. You went a little bit higher and didn't pull it twice, and you like hit the floor, like punched the floor. But that was early for a 540.
Well, I've been practicing 540s for ages, and it might have been Eric. It probably was, to be fair. I hadn't really tried them much, because I'd done slough, done pool, competitions, BFA competitions. And that was it. The first 540 I saw was Dave Slade at Edenbridge.
Oh, okay.
That was the first 540. And he almost pulled it. I think he virtually did pull it. But the first 540 that's out, proper
big meaningful one,
was Eric.
Okay.
But of course, like you're trying to practice them and you're inside the ramp, doing twiddles. But yeah, I got them. I mean, fucking hips. You're just slamming on your hips.
Did you learn 360s first, or like 360 to fake it, or you just try and spin right the way around?
No, I had a coaster brake. If you bonk, you're on your back if you try the 360. So you just, more like, 450 to pivot, I think probably Chingford is where I learned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, I went up there with, Chris and that, and he broke his hip trying that there. 540s, because it was all trying.
On the half pipe, wasn't it?
Yeah, the half pipe.
So the quarter pipe weren't, this is too early for the quarter pipe. It must have just been the half pipe. Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't there that day,
Yeah, but I'm sure, Chris he did what we all did, and he just landed on his hips.
Yeah, you got hip up.
And he had to go, that was a nightmare for him, But no, I got them down, I just joined Skyway. I think my first competition was some crap competition at Crystal Palace. There was like another sort of like regional sort of thing. And then, but the next major national, which was the last one of the year, was Cardiff. And I was riding 16 expert. Again, got the overall thing. Yeah, I had to place, because I was so low in the scores, I had to place in the top 6 to go up to
Masterclass, was it?
Masterclass.
Okay.
And so in practice, I did a couple of 540s. Before you do your run, you have 2 practice runs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I did 2 540s. And I had the worst fucking running. I fucked up all my airs. And Craig was on the team then as well, and he rode well. And of course, I want to get his eyes, Craig, and all that stuff. And everything just went wrong. Everything went wrong. And I think you get like a minute and a half or something like that, or a minute and 3/4. And I think after about a minute of just fucking bollocking everything up, that's I just fucking gunned a 540 and crashed fucking 3 or 4. So I just kept on trying.
I wonder if that was the thing that I saw.
I just kept on trying and crashing, and then the time ran out. And
yeah, that was it. Yeah, it looked like he was wanted to do another, and the time ran out. Yeah, it might have been that same one.
And I placed 7th.
That was your first contest for Skyway.
Yeah, apart from the Crystal Palace one, which was original, didn't matter. But it was super important to get to to go up to get to Masterclass.
Yeah.
And I said, I was gutted. And I was like, I'm sorry. Aside from thinking, I shouldn't be riding, I don't deserve to be riding for Skyway. That just... And then on the drive back, I said, well, that's it. I can't have to fucking go at 17 expert, or whatever. And Pete goes, no, you're in. I goes, what? He goes, yeah, sort of. You're in Masterclass. He said, but you just better make sure that you do well.
Oh wow.
So they
how did they pull them strings then? They was in
Skyway. They sponsored, UK BFA and all that lot.
No one else. But the funny thing is, how many other people would have known? Like, was there people there that were on the? No, probably not. Other than you, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's paying that much attention to you.
I mean, if you look, the greater scheme of things, I missed out by like a couple of points. Yeah. I don't know, but I didn't get enough points.
Yeah.
To get through, and they, go on.
And you went anyway. Perks of being on Skyway,
which was fortunate that I won it. The Masterclass.
So at this point, you're coming up to ride Meanwhile a bit as well.
Yeah.
Because you was mentioning that quite a bit.
Yeah. It was it. I was going. I went over to see Andy and Mark Reardon in Wales. I was
that's right, the ramp room. Yeah.
I was going all over the place.
Okay.
Just.
You was out on the travels.
Yeah.
You'd left school at this point.
On my Todd. Yeah, I was. I left school. Of course, I said, do you want to go? You're going to college? No. I don't want any more school.
Yeah.
My mum and dad says, you got to get a job. So I actually signed up to do car mechanics, like YTS scheme, £25 a week. And that was after I'd left school, I was waiting. And I'd got the college place and everything. And then September came and they hadn't found me a workplace. And it was like, oh my God. And my mum and dad going, you've got to get a job. And they got me, someone used to come into our shop, he was a plumber. And he said, I'll give him a job. And so I was just a plumber's mate,
Okay.
It was on site, you know, first and second fixing on new builds and that. The guy was actually, you know, from the Jitsu community. He couldn't read, couldn't write, but he was earning like £800 a week and paying me £40 a week, you know, like just to bend some pipes and do some soldering and that. You know, he taught me. It was perfect because we'd start 7 o'clock in the morning, finish at 1 o'clock, and I'd go and ride. It was just perfect. But he only did that up until November, and then he'd take the whole winter off because he had enough cash. And then start up again in the month. So then I had to go and get another job. At this point, you know, like £40 a week. I mean, doesn't sound a lot, but it's a lot more than £25 a week.
Yeah.
And the college rang me and they said, "Oh, we found you a workplace." And it was like, "No, I'm not going to bother." You know, I had to give my mum, like, you know, half of what I, well, more than half of what I earned. But that's fair enough. So I just got a job, you know, whatever factory was hiring, and all I thought about was riding. I think when I was on the Dyno, I think I was working in a shed, you know, putting sheds together.
Oh, okay.
With the nail guns and all that lot. And then I'd been there for about a week or two, and they said, "Oh, we're changing it to piecework."
Oh, so the amount, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can do half as, you know. So then I got, you know, downgraded, and I had to go and work with all the creosote, you know. So you're just covered in creosote, and then wrapping all the.
You're treating the sheds, okay.
Yeah, and then I couldn't do that. I was wrapping the sheds. I didn't want to do it, you know. I just remember riding that Dyno to work, you know, like freezing cold weather and, you know, snow on the ground and that. And I was just thinking, oh, you know, you can't ride.
Yeah, this sucks, yeah.
Yeah, it's just bad. And then when I was on Skyway, I was working at this place that made way bridges. And that was a little bit better money, you know. So, you know, I had quite a few jobs, you know, but that was, you know, all my friends in Crawley, they was all doing training for doing something or other. And, you know, it was, you know, mum and dad said, you know, what are you going to do? I ride my bike. I want to do that for a living. Oh, you'll never do that.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you wouldn't at that point in time. You wouldn't do that.
No, and I, you know, apart from the circuses and stuff,
there
wasn't anything, is it? You know, so I think you know, you get used to, you know, doing crap jobs just to get by. And
so when you was on Skyway, you was working.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't.
And did the action bike mud machine kind of feud settle down a bit, because then you had like a little feature in action bike like a little bit later on?
Yeah,
I'm guessing it must have like boiled down a touch.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you know, I don't think it lasted long. I think once I proved myself, you know, like I wasn't just going to do bunny hops and wave to the crowd. You know, like I was doing 540s. I was doing, you know, all the latest tricks. You know, like I was one of the first doing them. You know, because I learnt no-handers in the performance bowl at Rom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just went a little bit further to the, you know, I turned to the right, so I went a little bit further to the left, more of a kick.
Yeah.
And it kicked the bars in. Yeah, I learnt them there.
Oh, wow. So, because you was like, at this point in time, you was the guy doing all the new variations, weren't you? Like,
yeah.
It was this like flick book of new tricks, like.
Yeah.
And you had like.
Because we go to you know, I at this point, I wasn't going to Southsea. I wasn't going to, you know.
You're going to Meanwhile, yeah.
I'm going to Meanwhile. And, you know, me, Greg, Lee.
Yeah, Andy Brown.
It's
all like
Nick
new stuff going on
like,
there. Yeah.
We was all just hanging out, you know, and, you know, we were growing up, you know.
Yeah.
Lee got his Ford Cortina van. Car estate. Throw all the bikes.
Pover was there as well.
Yeah, John Pover. Oh, yeah, we used to go up.
There's a lot of people going there, weren't there? So.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That for 1 year, that was the spot, wasn't it? Like,
I think I went just you know, like I'd heard about Meanwhile, and I went up there. I think it was in the magazine or something.
Yeah, that's
before it was all sprayed up and stuff. And we went up there, and it was a rough ramp. You had to go fast just to get any kind of air. And we were taking, you know, like when it came down to it, I mean, you know, when you're getting 10, 11 foot out of it, you know, Greg and Lee, you know, got higher.
Yeah.
But you're taking a run up almost the whole fucking way.
We went there recently, yeah.
And that, because that ramp, you know, it was like using, you know, just exterior ply.
Yeah.
It wasn't smooth, and you really had to launch it. But once you got it, once you got enough speed that you got used to that, you know, you could do anything. It was a good transition to ride that.
Yeah, we went back there like semi-recent, and I was showing like the run-up from the top to the box. I remember some people came from round the corner.
Yeah.
If you look at that now, it don't look real, because the run-up's so far, and like obviously we're adults now and we can pedal properly.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all downhill, like, and it's far. Like, to look back at that, like, with plastic wheels, crappy
40
bikes.
PSI.
Yeah, exactly. It's 14, 15 years old.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, when I eventually, you know, left Skyway and I got my first set of 48s, I immediately got a foot and a half higher.
So you learned a lot of tricks at Meanwhile, do you think? Or?
No. I don't.
It's already.
We tried. Yeah. We did. You know, like, I don't think me personally learned a lot. Okay. You know, 540s weren't. You know, that wasn't around to do 540s.
Yeah.
But I think Lee and Greg,
the other guys,
and Andy especially, and I think out of everybody, Andy progressed the most.
Biggest jump, yeah.
It was, it was amazing seeing the change in, his no fit kangaroo, man.
Yeah.
You know, that is insane. His turn downs,
Yeah.
I mean, they all could do turn downs. I couldn't.
Yeah, but you was doing the look back, weren't you?
Yeah, I did.
And I wanted to ask you about that look back, because it's like, I thought, when I was looking at it the other day, I was like, I think this is from Dyno DeLuca. But you said it's from Neil Ruffle.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's way, like, more tweaked than Neil. I mean, obviously it was after, but like, Neil Ruffle kind of like, kicks it forwards, didn't he? And sort of, yours are like Dyno DeLuca's, like right laid out over the front. Like,
yeah, but Neil rode with a freewheel for a start.
You had the coaster
and I had the coaster brake. So lock on the brake, my foot is against the seat post, and I'm using the seat post.
Okay, that's what I thought it was Dyno, because when I was looking at one, and you was on like a green and white Skyway, and I was like, it's Dyno, very Dyno DeLuca-esque.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you got it from there. But yeah, so you took it from Neil and pushed it further.
Yeah. In fact, I say Neil, but Mike Dominguez had one in Freestylin, on the Enchanted ramp. His foot was off.
Okay, but that would have been after, wouldn't it? The Enchanted ramp was after.
Was it after? Yeah. So maybe,
The Enchanted ramp, I think, was 87 and on.
Yeah.
So it would have been Neil. I remember, It's quite some, because there was one at Southsea, wasn't there?
Yeah. That's the one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one. That's got to be the one.
Yeah.
But and the only reason why I did it is because, again, it was at Alton, and it was a mistake.
Oh, your foot
I tweaked it and my foot fell off. And I came back in, like...
Yeah.
I think it looked back.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty good going, but like tweak look back, but then like that's a long time ago. So it was an all-one ramp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But like you say, like it was all. Yeah. Everybody.
One week to the next, something new's happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And and the thing is, if you're on that same path, I think it's like a natural progression for anybody on that same, to learn these things.
Yeah. Well, the more people that are doing it at that level, the more mistakes that are going to happen, the more new stuff's going to come. When you think about it like that way. Interesting. So, is that how you end up with the like for sort of punk rock? Was working these shit jobs?
Yeah.
Or did you have it before that?
No, it was before that.
Before that, yeah. But that sort of just fueled it. It seems.
My uncle, he. Whether up, they lived in Yorkshire, and we went back to visit occasionally. I went to see my nan, and he was living with my nan. They'd sold that place by this point, and he just had given him enough rope.
Yeah,
and they were out. And I was 11, and put it on. It's like, damn, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was it.
So you just delved in from there, like instant like.
Yeah, and of course when I met Dave, and he's going, Dave Munn.
Yeah,
and he's he's going, oh, what music do you like? So the Clash, and he's like, oh, and he liked the Sex Pistols. I wasn't that keen, but you sort of like start switching around and stuff. And to be fair, Craig had this tape. Cassette tape that Peter used to put on at BFA comps and demos and stuff, and it was like the theme from Rad, the movie, and B-52s and that sort of thing.
It's different,
and it was just changed everything.
That was the Skyway. That was the Skyway team tape, I guess. Yeah. Oingo Boingo, and That was where I remember them bands being mentioned.
And you could only, and of course, you could only get those albums up at Virgin. In on Oxford Street.
Yeah.
So I used to go up there and go and get my albums.
Oh. Yeah, I just noticed that exactly you and Beveridge was always into like some punk music. Yeah, like deep into it. Yeah, he loved it as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he was. Yeah, he was more hardcore. Than me. I mean, I was plastic punk all the way, but
it's still good.
It was still good. Yeah,
it still served the purpose, didn't it? When fucking dickheads giving you like shit when you're 15 for riding the BMX, he's like, oh, fuck you. I know there's other stuff. Like,
no, totally. Yeah.
Opens your eyes. Yeah. And then like Chingford.
Yeah.
Quarter pipe.
Yeah.
You didn't used to come Chingford that often, did you? No.
No, but that was at the time, I would say that Chingford quarter pipe, because I liked it, it was my favourite quarter pipe anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I could just go as fast as I liked. And have a good, had a nice big transition to land on, because I wasn't a smooth rider. Yeah. But,
because that was the old half, because remember they built the big half pipe, which was now 10 foot.
Yeah.
So that was a piece of the old half pipe that was reconstructed.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
the first Chingford Jam half pipe, that was the quarter.
Oh.
And that, and the run up was from the half pipe as well.
No, right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so then freestyling came. How did you know that freestyling was coming? Was that just everyone?
It was the news, you get, we're all going, we all knew it, because I was having a bit of a jam there on the, on the half pipe, and they said that Windy was going to go there and take some photos on the half pipe, and it was like, oh, well, I'll go there and have a look, and I went there with, some Crawley friends,
They're the guys on the deck, right? Two of them. Fraser Campbell, I think's on the deck.
Yeah, Fraser, JJ, and Lunch.
Lunch. All right.
Jay Turner and Fraser's on there. And I went up with Gordon and John Connolly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, we went up there and off.
But you'd ridden the quarter before that day? Or was that
I'd read it. I'd read it. I'd written it, like half a dozen times.
2 times,
yeah.
How was that? That was a buzz getting freestyling, right?
Well, it was never supposed to happen. I was, because they were all on the half pipe. That's what it was all about.
Okay.
And it was all muddy and wet and everything, and it was damp. And I was just talking to Gordon because I couldn't ride the half pipe.
I remember you saying, you're having issues with half pipes. I just didn't like them, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Too much grief.
Especially with the coast, but like having to half crank. And I said, go on, I'm going to start riding the quarter pipe. Will you have a go with me? Because you don't want to just ride.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
And he said, yeah. So we all just started going up and down, and then I started, doing my thing, and I wasn't meaning for it to happen, because it was taking attention
away from what they've come over to do. But they shot street on that trip as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the itinerary was and what what it was supposed to be all about, but I just thought, and then I started busting, and Wendy came up to me and she said, should do 3 tricks, just keep doing 3 tricks that you like, and I'll just keep shooting. And so that's what I did. I think it was the Indian, 1-footed look back, and I can't remember. Oh, it's probably that kick out, 1-footed kick out thing that I used to do, where you
the one you had the picture of on the Dyno. Kind of kick out the back end and take the bottom foot.
But I never got them as good as that, like after that, the when I was on the Dyno, because it was quite vertical. But I couldn't get them like that. It felt like that, but they weren't like that.
Okay.
So I was doing that, the Indian and the 1-footed look back.
All shot from. Did she only shoot from the same place?
I don't know. I never saw. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
It'd be interesting to see the rest of the photos.
Because I was doing no-footed inverts and and all that sort of stuff as well. 540s. I was doing 1-footed 540s, and and it all stopped because I did I think it was a 1-footed 540, and I landed and my tough blew.
Oh, okay.
They broke on the hub, and luckily this time I didn't face plant, but.
That was to me that was the most memorable shot of the feature.
It was so chuffed.
Yeah,
it was just amazing. To have that.
You just got jeans on as well, and a jersey.
Yeah,
I remember the look of it being like just a pair of low top Vans, some jeans. It looked like
JC helmet.
Yeah, it was like it was definitely like a good sort of. It was looking like it was crossing over. Like it was good. Yeah, love it. Yeah, even the people on the deck. But I was in America once, and some guy from New York, this guy called Eddie Rio, is a bit of a New York legend. He was like, "Yeah, man, the no-foot can." He was because he knew I was from England. He was like, "That no-foot can with a shoe on the high pole." He was like, "He's like years and years later." He's like, "Yeah, that's the one he's buzzing on." Yeah, I was at Woodward. Yeah, it's fucking cool, man.
I think I got when I was over there in in '88, and I think I had a couple of people say about that as well.
Yeah, no,
it's just you don't realise, it's like when I saw it, it was like freestyle.
Yeah. That was great to see like amazing. The UK in just in general, it was good.
I mean, it was good, and it was. Yeah, you just wonder. Oh, I'd just love to have seen some of the other pics.
Yeah. That's what when you just told me that she wanted just keep doing 3 tricks, like straight away. I'm like. What was the others like?
I had so many tricks, man. I had so many tricks as well.
At that point in time, you was you had everything.
Yeah, it was, it was mad. Obviously, I mean, to be fair, I was still coming into my own style, really, because it was only 6 months later that.
I would say that was your breakout year. Was '87. That was when you went.
Yeah.
You really sort of took.
And riding against Laidlaw.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up actually, like the rivalries,
the competition.
Yeah,
Jesus, it was amazing. Amazing times. I mean, he was such a awesome rider.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, it was disappointing for me and him in that like the pros had given up. Like Neil, Craig, they weren't entering. Like they weren't going to these contests.
Yeah.
Dave Young was still riding.
Yeah,
he was still awesome.
I've got him written down as well, and Ellis as well.
Yeah, but Ellis was.
Was he?
He was with Greg, and Lee. They were in 17
okay,
plus.
so it was Dave Young and Stephen Laidlaw was your.
Dave Young wasn't. No, he was pro.
Oh, he was pro.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was me.
So he was above you, Stephen. Okay.
Yeah, we're gunning to go pro.
Yeah.
You know, and to ride against, you know, all the top guns. You know, Craig and Neil, and you know, like would.
And they dropped out pretty much.
They dropped out that year.
Went to America or stopped competing in them contests.
Yeah. We had, you know, we were, you know, in effect, we were the pinnacle, you know, of the ramps.
Yeah.
We didn't see it like that, you know.
Yeah, of course, yeah. What was that like seeing the other people like dwindle off, and then like you guys are still sort of still full force, like charging it, like risking it.
Yeah,
like,
we just wanted, you know, we wanted to prove
you
ourselves.
Still fucking
yeah. We
didn't matter. Yeah,
didn't matter. We, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of it for us, you know. Like with Meanwhile, and I mean, I think we spoke about it, you know, like as all of us, you know, like Greg Ellis, you know, everyone, you know, like Lady, we were up there with the Americans, you know, for that time, you know, or very, very close. You look in, you know, the European, you know, side of things, there wasn't very many people.
Yeah, not at that point.
And you know, it was, you know, we were that close to that level.
I'd say, yeah, definitely.
It was a nice feeling to have, you know, because you know, you can go to the States and, you know, compete.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't happen, but
is that what you wanted to do at that point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose that's only natural for everyone at that point in time.
Yeah, because I did in the '88. You know,
Yeah.
that was the plan. You know, that was my goal, was to go there and compete against him.
Did you? But you didn't ride in a contest when you went in '88, did you? Oh, you did, yeah.
No.
Oh,
yes,
no.
I did, but no,
did?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. No.
Oh, man.
No.
But so let me just rewind a minute. It's like, so Crawley, like the barn jam, like the Crawley scene and the barn, like what? How did that all come about?
Well, they had the quarter pipe at the boys' club, and then Pete, his mum had hired this barn for horses, and you know,
Peter.
Pete, you know Pete. He's going to kill me.
Just one of the locals there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
He was like a skater.
Okay.
He was like a skater.
I just thought it was like someone that.
Yeah, no, sorry, no, it's not Pete. No, he's my man. You know, with that barn thing.
Okay.
In fact, I nicked some wood for him. You know, like because Crawley was being built up, and they had loads of shutter ply and stuff. Right. And I think it might have been my Vauxhall Viva. And there was 4 of us in the car, and we're all holding onto like 4 or 5 sheets of this, you know, like
driving down the road, stealing the wood
through Crawley, and taking it to the barn. And then they did all the transitions, and they built the half pipe. It started off as just like jumping into Haywell or a mini ramp or something like that, and then within the space of 6 months, a year, they'd had it. I mean, they know more than me because I didn't really go there. But then they built the half pipe. And we started going there of an evening. You know, like you could get, it was only an hour away from Farnham. So, you know, like we'd go and ride of an evening. And again, it was because, you know, indoors, fucking hell. You got an indoor half pipe, you know. All right, you could only get a foot out one side and grind along, you know, the beam. But then the other side, you could get 6, 7 foot, you know. But that was sort of like, 87, 88.
Yeah, 87 and 88, that's what I was going to say. I think it might have even lasted to 89, possibly.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I went to maybe the 3rd or 2nd Crawley Jam there. Because they did 2 in 1 year, maybe.
Possibly, I don't know.
And then they did 1 the year after I went to that one.
Because I was
you was in America. Was you in America?
I went, no, I went to the Circus in 88.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other Circus in 89.
Okay.
And then it was sort of like in between times, you know, like I'd go and ride there of an evening.
That was a buzzing scene, wasn't it? At that point in time,
it was brilliant.
That got a lot of magazine coverage, and like it had all the right. For me, it had the right people were there that I thought anyway.
I mean, if you think about it, you know, like, you know, BMX was dying a death.
Yeah.
But you know, so it's how, you know, like everybody knew each other, pretty much. You know, you had different scenes, you know, Bristol and all that, you know.
Trumpton.
Yeah. Which, you know, we went, you know, we went there, and you know, that was still that Ellis thing. And,
it was good. Like, it was like there were scenes, weren't there? Like they were dotted around the UK. That was a nice time. Like,
and if somebody said, "Oh yeah, you're going to come up," you know, like you're at a comedy, you're going to come. Yeah, we'll come up, and we did. Yeah. You know, like, you know, go and stay at, you know, James's house or Ellis's house, and well, you wouldn't want to stay at Ellis's house. He didn't have any heating. You know, I did stay there, and it was cold. It was grim.
So, how many times do you go up to like the Trumpton sessions? There was that feature, wasn't there, where it made you guys look like you'd been there a few times?
Yeah, no, that was James. Yeah, that was James's house.
Hudson's Ramp.
Yeah. I only went there a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think that was just on a, you know.
What was that RAD shoot or something?
Yeah, I think I got a lift back with TLB and Nick.
Okay.
Back down south. I don't know what was going on there. I think we'd gone up there with the Milton Keynes kid.
Yeah, that's it. Lee was there, and like it seemed like a lot of guys from down here went up there for that section.
Yeah, they you know, he liked, you know, but I think he was going somewhere else afterwards. So, you know, I got lift back with TLB and that. Nice. But yeah, it was just another one of those things. Got to the, you know, it's getting dusk, and one last trick. What we're going to do? You know, like Lee's going, I'm going to do no 35-40. You know, like we're all just going, I'm going to do, you know, like, and it's like, you know, I'm going to do a candy bar Indian. You know, like, and you know, we all did something. Well, tried something new.
You've not,
you know, we never even thought or tried before. So, you know, it's just the, you know, the mad end session. Try not to cane yourself.
Yeah, what was that? You called it Turkish Delight or something? Was that called?
Yeah, it wasn't me that called it.
They called it that in the mag. Okay.
It was one of the lads. You know, I can't remember.
Just a local.
Yeah, guy. James or something like that. You know, like candy bar Indian. Yeah, Turkish. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and so so that whole shot that Matt turned up, Hoffman turned up, and I don't know. That was a bloody nightmare anyway.
Was that the Tizer one? Yeah, that was the Tizer, the tour.
The whole shot one.
Oh, whole shot. Okay,
yeah. It was after that. Sorry. Yeah, it was after that. Yeah, although, you know, because that was for Tizer Worlds. You know, that was the tour.
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant.
I went to two of them, I think. Yeah.
I should have. I've got. I'll tell you after anyway. You know, you might want to borrow it. Just a video.
Oh yeah, we use it for footage.
Yeah. But I haven't brought it with me.
Yeah. No worries. But yeah.
But it's. I believe, and I don't know how I got hold of this, but I've had it years and years and years. You know, from nearly the time. But I think it's footage from Carl Linkpen, and there's hours of footage from all practicing and all that sort of stuff. Just stuff that you wouldn't have seen. Yeah. You know, like, you know, Matt blowing tough after tough. Yeah. You know, like hanging up.
Amazing.
But you know, like
12-foot airs. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth a watch. You know, if you know.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I wanted to ask you about that hole shot. Yeah. So like that was the big hole shot. That was skating. Like that.
Yeah, with Hazoy and.
Yeah. But you was at the McCoy one as well, I take it. Yeah. That was pretty mind blowing as well.
That was brilliant.
I'd never heard of McCoy. I was like,
yeah,
mind blown. You know, Dino DeLuca and McCoy, wasn't it? And so the one after was like the big, like that was. Craig came back, and you guys like Lee, Greg, you like that seemed to be your sort of time as well.
And I blew it.
I thought you rode good in that.
No.
You had another photo in Freestylin in that though.
Yeah, the one photo looked back. Yeah.
Well, maybe that was the one I was talking about earlier.
Well, the night before, Regis Goudreau was there. You know, because you had everybody from all over, and I don't know what I was doing. I landed heavy, binned the bike, and I bent my bars. my Skyway bars. And so Pete, need some bars. I ain't got any. What? What? And luckily, Lee goes, oh, I've got a set of redline forklifters. Bearing in mind, I'd just learned the Turkish Delight.
Yeah.
Forklifter bars.
The high crossbar.
Oh my God.
Oh, did you try it? Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do any of my no-fitted candy bars or anything. You know, I was gutted.
Oh, okay. Because the Skyway bars dropped, didn't they?
Yeah. And I just, you know, so I only got the bars, took them home with me and put them on that night. Reggie stayed at my place, and I think, you know, a couple of others stayed there. And we went back in the morning, you know, and so that day was just, you know, trying to get used to these bars. So I did, you know, I made the best of what I had. Yeah. But yeah, I was a bit gutted that, you know, I didn't do as well as I thought I could have done.
I think I watched that recent, and I remember I thought you had a good run, but like you say, if you got a load of new stuff,
I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, you know, it was. You know, I was riding much better before that. So you know, it was a bit of a gutter for me.
Where did you place there? Can you remember? Fourth. So who else was in your group then?
Who was it?
Lee and Greg, maybe, or were they below?
Was it Josh White there?
Yeah, Josh White was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lee and Greg weren't in my class. There, so it was
Wilkerson,
Josh White, Wilkerson.
You was in the top class, okay.
Yeah,
Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman.
So you placed well, really, realistically speaking. Like,
you know, I wanted to beat Craig.
Yeah.
You know, it was just that thing, wasn't it? But no, wanted to be. You know.
Yeah.
Fucked up the 540. You know.
I thought, did you pull a 145? 500?
Yeah, it was a bit rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. You know, it wasn't as good as I thought it, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose as well, you know, like, you know, I was nervous as fuck.
Yeah,
you know,
like that's. I mean, that was the big one, wasn't it? Like that pressure was on that one.
Yeah, it's the same as, you know, it's all these big ones I do, you know, that I rode in. I always seem to sort of, you know, like it got to me.
Yeah.
Ties a World Cup, you know, with Joe Johnson and Dennis.
Oh yeah.
No, that was another
Manchester. One. That was the year after, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in the circus, and so I'd taken a week off, and so you're working in the circus, and you know you've got a 30-foot run up, you know, and you're pushing, and then going to unlimited run up. You're like, you know, you got used to it, but and Carlo was just amazing.
Yeah, he went huge that weekend, didn't he?
You know, and trying to keep up with trying to keep up with Carlo, and you know, couldn't, but. It was another one, you know, like my first dare in that run at the World Cup. You know, I did a Carlo fast as I can. I just carved the whole bleeding ramp. I think it was about 11 foot.
Yeah, 12 foot wide.
And I just missed
the side.
Yeah, I missed the whole ramp. So it wouldn't have even mattered if I was off the side. I just nosedived completely off the transition. And the bars just went, all right. And it was because the bars are so shit that I survived.
You got away with it.
Yeah.
Well, did you have some good? You rode. That wasn't the end though. You rode another run, did you?
Yeah.
I thought you rode.
Yeah. It was just the bar slipped, so I pulled. You know, Alan Key, and they gave me a rebate. So you know, like I had my.
So I think you had some good photos from that, didn't you?
I don't know. I can't remember them.
Red Skyway,
yeah, it was
red and chrome or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I seem to remember you having some good pictures from there.
Yeah, it was.
But that was like 88. So in 87, like after Whole Shot, obviously we're right slap in the dead of winter then. What was you working then, or was you circusing?
Yeah, I was.
I was working.
Yeah, I was working then. Yeah, okay. I went to work in the circus in the following June for the first time in Great Yarmouth.
Okay.
And because it was only a short season there, you know, I think it was like June until
August, probably, yeah.
October.
Oh, really? Yeah,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that. You know, that's the summer season. And then just in between times, I went up and did the Manchester World Cup.
put that in the middle there. Yeah. So, and at this point in time, like I remember, I'm sure it was you and Ellis. You started doing things which you was calling swing crank. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Which was like, looking back now, pretty like far ahead of its time, I thought. Because everyone used to like do, if they was doing something one-footed and they was taking the bottom foot off, pull the brake, wouldn't they? And your leg don't go in the right place, does it? It's kind of like crouched in some weird... But then like suddenly it was like, I'm doing this swing crank. And I was like, what the fuck is swing crank?
Well, what happened was, because of the half pipe at the barn, I thought, I'm going to try a freewheel. So that's the first time I'd ridden with a freewheel, you know, since racing, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, so I'm trying to do my tricks, you know, like brake on, one FedEx, but what I did when I, you know, 85, when I was working at that way rack, you know, weighbridge manufacturers, I had two brake levers. I had a little little doodah, so I could do eddy airs.
Yeah.
So I learnt eddy airs with the brake on. So you know, because I did a puppet air, I could do both, and it worked. You know, it was great. And I'm thinking, I really want to do eddy airs. I know. I'll drop the crank. And so I did a 1-footer and it just went woo. And when I did that, I went and landed smoother.
It worked, yeah.
And I'm like thinking, oh, I like this. And that was it. You know, I just started.
So that was Crawley?
Yeah, Crawley.
So that was 87. That was like pre-Joe Johnson. I thought Joe Johnson had something to do with it, but that's pre-Joe Johnson.
No, it was before. Yeah. It was just. I just thought.
So Ellis got it off you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you two were the only people that I'd heard say that term, and I was like, "What is this swing crank?" And then,
it was just like you know, you take off 1 FedEx up.
Yeah, because it puts everything in a better place, doesn't it? Like,
and you just
you've got space,
and then you're coming out, and because of the swing, you swing it back in, and
it comes in steep,
it's coming steep. It was just amazing, but the only problem for me was no footed tricks took a dive, you know, because whenever I took my feet off doing a no footed trick,
you had to pull your brake still.
Yeah, I had to pull my brake still, but the cranks would rotate, you know, tighten them up, but they still, you know, like if you take your feet off slightly odd, they'll drop.
Yeah,
and you're like, so they did, you know, that did take a bit of a hit, you know, on my no footed tricks.
Interesting, yeah, because I saw a photo of you like much later on at like Nottingham Wheels contest doing like stretch no foot candy bar, but that's way after. So
I got used to it.
Yeah, because that's a big huge step for me. Like suddenly the brakes you don't need the brake to do the trick, which makes way more sense. The trick looks better. And it's easier once you get used to like it's turning. It's easier.
Exactly, and because you've got the rotation of the wheels, it's so stable. You know, like as soon as you put your brake on, you go and it can stop. So when you're doing an air, you know, like when you're doing an air, you use your brake to stop rotate. You know, if you're over rotating, you know, dab, and you stop rotation, and you know, like, and then you just go, you know, to carry on going up like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that was like you was. Yeah, that's good. You were the perpetrator of the first ones. That's splendid.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. No, you and Ellis was the first, but if Ellis got it off you, then
and it was the eddy airs that really, you know, like you can just let that go, and 1 FedEx ups. And, you know it did. You know.
And then like that year you went to the US
in '88. Yeah. So I think I saved up like $2.5 grand.
All right.
I spent
that was a lot of money back then. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like so I'm going to go to the States. You know, that was the whole plan. You know, when I was going.
So was that from the circus you saved that money?
Yeah.
So you riding in the circus with who? Ellis.
No, I rode with Greg and I rode with James Hudson.
Okay.
So Greg, me and James started it, and then James, I think he was doing something with college or uni or something like that, and then Greg came in and took over, and I don't know if James came back, I can't remember, but we were sitting there. It was just a mental time. You know, the guy who owned the Circus owned the local nightclub, Rosie O'Grady's. We lived above this bar called Boobs.
Was that Yarmouth?
Great Yarmouth,
okay.
Yeah. So we could get in, you know, like all these places, you know, met Freddie Starr and all that. It was mental. And yeah, we'd just be partying. You know, we'd going down the, you know, do our shows, go down, party. Had so much fun and invited Beveridge up, and you know, and he stayed with us for, you know, like a month or something. Okay. And he'd broken his leg at Chingford.
Oh right, yeah, I remember him with a cast, yeah.
And he came and I said, "Oh, you may as well come here, you know, we'll look after you, you know." Like, so he was just, you know, he's offering about.
Classic,
and all that. Brilliant. But it's hard. Doing the circus is hard because it's great having the money, but you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
You know, you're not pushing yourself. You're pushing. Oh yeah, you're a rider. You push every show, or you try to, and you push every show, and you know, with that sort of run. I mean, that circus, right? The arena had water under it. It was slattered, and so at the end of the show, the arena would drop down. The circus ring would drop down. And then they'd have this water fountain, all this shit going on. So it's constantly wet. So the first half of the show, they'd have the big fat rug, you know, like thick, heavy carpet sort of stuff on there. And then the second half was sort of like, you know, the people on mats, but it's wet. It was wet. So you're
riding in the wet?
You're riding in the wet. And you're slipping out and you're doing this, you know, like you're on the quarter pipe, and the quarter pipe, they'd made the quarter pipe for us, and it was in two halves and it rocked like that. So it was just, you know, but you've got to make a show of it, you know, and you've got to be, you know, professional and, you know, make it fun and everything. So some shows were shit and some shows were good, you know, like the owner was happy. So, you know, we got the next gig for the next year in Blackpool Tower, because they switch over at Blackpool Tower because he owns that circus as well. So yeah, I'd spent a lot of money. I came back home and I owed my mum a lot of money from years and years. And I gave her the money, and it was like, you know, they like me again. And I went to America in the November.
You went with Andy Brown?
Went with Andy Brown.
What was that Pova hookup, was it? Or Jess, did you say?
No, it's Jess.
Oh, okay.
Jess, yeah. He met us at the airport.
Cool.
I think by the time I got there, I think I only had like $400 left, you know. But Jess met us at the airport, and we were just like, wow, California.
Made it, yeah.
Right. And he took us to... I think we just stayed at his place that first night, and then he took us to Huntington Beach, and it's where Craig and Crazy Legs Steve Baldry lived, and we were just like, oh my god, you know, we're here. Me and Andy, like, right, what we're going to do? We went down to the beach. See if there's any riders, and of course there's no riders. You know, there's no BMXs, there's no nothing. You're just like, oh. And then we did meet a couple of riders, and they were the ones that started showing us all around and everything. You know, Craig and Steve, you know, they're doing their own thing, whatever. You know, we just wanted a ride. So we got all the street sessions, you know, like they took us everywhere. We went to the nude, you know, they took us to the nude bar.
Oh, okay, so you went far, yeah.
Yeah, they, you know, it was cool. They were really cool guys. And the nude bar was, you know, mad, but, you know, I didn't like it, but, you know, it was just an event, you know, it was cool. And then they introduced us to Mike Sorrell, and, you know, he'd heard of us anyway, you know, like he was, you know, BMX aficionado over there and stuff. And we went and stayed at his house, and he was sort of like just on the outskirts of LA and stuff. And we, what was it? Yeah, he took us to Pipeline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about Pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eye opener, wasn't it?
Hey, yeah.
Eye opener.
God, yeah, that was awful. Awful bowl.
Was it skaters there when you went?
Yeah.
Heavy skates.
I think so. You know, I don't know. I think there was a few skaters anyway.
Oh, okay. Because I was at that point in time, BMX had definitely was on its way, sort of way down.
Yeah. There was
the skate boom was.
There weren't any BMXs there. We were the only ones.
Okay.
And Mike had spoken to, I think it was the guy's name.
Yeah, Hoffman. Yeah.
And we, you know, I rode that bowl. And I just thought, oh my God, I think I got about a foot out, and it was just like, oh, I don't like this. And so I went and started jumping up at the top. You know, and there's a sign up saying no BMXing. And the Hoffman guy goes, get out of there. Get out of there. All right, you know. I had my Skyway shirt on there, you know, came out. He went back in, I went back in, and that was it. I got banned.
Oh yeah, you got banned?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking story.
Yeah, that was it.
Fuck.
And of course Mike's going, what the hell? You know, like they come all the way from
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, don't worry about it, Mike. You know. And he goes, well, at least you can see you got banned.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I was only there an hour or so. Yeah, it was cool. So, but the reason why we went in November is because we were going to do one of the AFA comps at the Velodrome.
Okay.
You know, and we met up with. Actually, no, saying that, I'll jump a bit because we went down to ROMS, down to San Diego way, down to the Enchanted Ramp.
That's it. Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Yeah,
and I think Gary Forsyth and. We met up with Gary Forsyth because E-Frame was there as well. You know, like you know.
Oh, okay.
Rob Alton.
Hassel was there as well, I think. Wasn't he?
Hassel was there. It was a bit of a Brit gathering. Yeah. It was cool, and we sort of rented some apartment, and we was going there. You know, it was amazing. I mean, just be there, but the ramp, Jesus, it was so old. You know, like the plywood, it was rough.
Yeah.
But what a ramp! What a ramp! It was awesome.
That's what Jess said actually. The ramp's something else. Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect transitions. I mean, you know, and I don't like half pipes.
Yeah.
But I improved, you know, there. But I had my, you know, Skyway 2, and I bent the back end, and the AFA comp was like a week. It's like, oh shit. So I rang Pete, and he said, "Oh, I've spoken to the guys there because Skyway had gone bust.
Oh, okay.
You know, they'd gone defunct, so there was no Skyway riders. You know, that was it. And this is what I was told. You know, everybody was off Skyway apart from, you know, with UK ride.
Yeah.
And I spoke to, I don't know who it was I spoke to from the factory, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll get you a frame out, but we haven't got any of the Street Beat 2s. So we'll send you just a normal, you know, the Street Beat."
The old one, yeah.
I said, "Oh yeah, you know, that's cool. You know, whatever. You know, I'll ride that." And they said, "Oh, do you want a set of Tufts?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have a set of Tufts. Do you want graphites?" Nah, don't worry about it. Fucking idiot. Thing is, though, I'd seen Matt at the Ties of Worlds, and they just blew up. You know, and knowing me, I'd have just, I'd have destroyed them. So yeah, I just went for the normal Tufts. So yeah, I had a grey and white
Street Beat
with black Tufts. You know, like, it's cool. I think I've got a new set of bars as well. All came, set it all up, and it's a lot shorter. And I think I got on better with that on that ramp than the Street Beat 2.
Okay.
You know, like, because that was a little bit long for that transition. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe it's just because I was there. You know. But yeah, I enjoyed riding that. And Gary took some awesome photos.
Yeah, I've seen some of the photos. Yeah. So you didn't enter that AFA contest, or you did?
Yeah, we went there. I didn't have much money left, and I had another like 2 or 3 weeks to go. You know, like it was skinted.
Yeah.
But I had enough money to join the AFA and enter.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like I joined, and they said, "Oh yeah, you know, that's great. You know, what class you're in pro?" And no, sorry, no, you can't enter pro. What? Mike Sorrell was there, and he's going, "What do you mean? You know, like he's a British professional champion, you know, all this." And he said, "No, you have to enter 6 AFA contests before you can turn pro." I said, "But I've just come back riding against Joe and Dennis in a British professional."
UK, yeah.
I said, "Why can't I enter pro?" And from what I gather, I don't know because something else happened after that. But they had a meeting between the riders and that. I'd been practicing on, you know, I'd already been riding, and I was doing well.
Yeah.
You know, and they said no. And I was like,
oh, they had a meeting and they still denied you.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
that's why someone's scared that they're going to lose their spot.
So I had to ride 19 expert. And I thought, well, that's all right, I'll ride against Dyno, I've got, you know, not a problem. But I was doing, you know, over 10 foot, I was doing 5 foot 540s, I was doing everything, you know, all my styles, and I loved the ramps, they were brilliant. And then again, it was, you know, typical. I was about 2 hours before the start of the comp, and I have another practice session, and I'm, you know, doing 155 40s and all that lot, and I went for a big 540, and I came off the side of the ramp, face planted, knocked myself out.
Oh shit!
And I'm laying on the ground, and bearing in mind, through all this time, Lee was supposed to be coming from some contest or some demos he was doing, and I'm laying on the ground. It's bright sunshine, you know, and I'm like, oh fuck's sake! And then this Mohican comes out, "What are you doing down there then?" Like, "Oh, Lee, fuck off." So they carted me off, took me to hospital, and you know, strapped to the
stretcher.
And I'm like, oh, you know, like an hour's gone past, and I'm just laid down. I'm like, I feel all right, and oh, fucking hell, my head hurts. I was thinking, shit. It's like, oh, that's better. The doctor said, so it's all right. So, you know, you sure? Disclaimers, I suppose. Anyway, they let me out, and I got back, and they hadn't ridden yet. So back,
you're going back into it.
I want to, you know, like I'm ready to ride. I said, no, you can't ride. So I'd spent $100 for nothing.
Fuck, but you didn't get your money back, right?
No. Okay, no, I can understand that. You know, it was another gutter. You know.
Yeah.
It was.
That's weird, that pro thing. I think that people were protecting their spot there, weren't they?
It was a bit, you know, from what I had, Mike Sorrell, he was awesome. He was coating them all off, you know. It was, you know, he was really going for it. And, you know, and Matt's there, and I was saying, you know, I said, they won't let me enter pro. And he's like, oh, you know, that's not fair, you know.
Yeah.
But it's...
Who was it in the AFA at that point?
There was Dennis, there was Joe.
The guys.
I don't know.
That you don't.
No, I don't know.
Okay, it wasn't like people that you'd know of, no.
I don't think so.
Originally, it was like Bob Morales and stuff. Wasn't
it? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. I wasn't. You know, all I wanted to do was ride, and all I wanted to do was ride pro. But if they weren't going to let me ride pro, I was going to ride whatever. You know, like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought, you know, well, I'll show them, and then I did.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
So then, like, you come back from Cali, like, when you stayed near Wilkerson's most of the time.
Yeah, we did like a couple of weeks in Huntington Beach or near Huntington Beach, and then a couple of weeks down in down in San Diego.
Okay.
And then we went back. Well, I went back, and then I flew home early, and Andy stayed on.
Oh, all right.
We did, like we went. I can't remember the name of the place, but like some trails and stuff.
Jumpy spots, yeah, I've seen them.
And that was the first time, because I could, you could jump. If you can do airs, you can jump. And I was just doing all the styles that I did.
Yeah.
On the airs, just in jumps, and so that was. But that was on that was on Gary Forsyth's bike.
Oh, okay.
I was on, yeah. I was just.
Well, that was a black bike, wasn't it? I've
seen
the pictures of Haro,
yeah. I think that was it was Gary's bike.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just down some trail somewhere. And that was good fun. We saw a few things. It was good.
Mm.
But that California dream, didn't really work for me.
When the same for me. Yeah, when you get to, it's a nice feeling getting to America, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you've seen it for all them years in them mags, and you're like, when you get there and you're off the plane, you're out and you're in it. It's like, well, I made it. We got there. It is.
It's
something else. Yeah. But yeah, it's not.
And seeing all all these people that all you've just been, drooling, on those pictures in the magazines, and seeing them in real life, Todd Anson and
that's it. Yeah.
Josh White and
it's a fucking good feeling. Man.
Yeah.
So then you come back in late '88, is that?
I came back sort of like beginning of December. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Rough, wasn't it? Then it got really rough, didn't it? '89. But what was you doing in '89? You went to the circus, or?
Yeah, I did. That Christmas I just worked at. I just got a quick job doing. I was a stagehand at some pantomime.
Oh, okay.
With Johnny Ball and all this shit. But then, because I knew I was going to Germany in the March. And that was the beginning of the March.
Do what's that? Chrome was that? Was that
Circus Krona?
Okay, yeah, I remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were the biggest circus in Europe.
Okay.
And that was a big deal. And you get there, and you just, it's a travelling circus, so, completely different kettle of fish. It's a travelling circus, and it seats over 5,000 people. It's just immense.
Something else.
Elephants, tigers. Like every animal that you can, think of. And God, we got there, and the guy, like the transport guy goes, I said, well, where are we living? And Pete stayed there, but he was staying in a hotel, obviously, We started out in a place called Ulm, and it's like an American base, like town, city. And that's where they started, and then they go travelling off. So Circus Krona, they do 4 years. So one route for that first year, another route, going to different parts of the country, different countries, 3 and 4, so it's all separate. So we're signed up for 4 years. And you get, and it's from March until November, so it's long, and you're just thinking, well, I was, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck have I done? You're lonely, you're depressed, you're staying in this truck and it's shit. Food, German food, it was awful. You know. And for both me and Jason,
Who was you with? Jason Davis?
Jason Ellis.
Oh, Jason Ellis, okay.
Yeah, he was 17. I mean, I was 19, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe just coming up to maybe 20.
Yeah.
And what do? You think about the money. So we had 2 weeks before the actual show started. So as opposed to, having to ride on the wet surface at the Yarmouth Circus, this one, they get tons and tons of dirt delivered when they first set the ring up, and they want it all nice and loose for all the horses and the animals. Okay. We want it all nice and hard for our runner. So we had one of the Vincent quarter pipes. I think we had the Skyway one, the 7 foot.
Yeah.
And then we did take another quarter pipe with us because we thought, we'll have, quarter pipe, whatever. Didn't really seem to work for us. So Jason made a trick ramp, he did. And we had just 8x4 sheets of 3/4 inch ply, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think there might have been 10 or 12 or something. as I run up. We were the first act on, so we did our routine was 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So they do all the prancing about at the beginning, you know, you know. When we're on the stage, and the ramp is, so the stage is sort of shaped like that, and the ramp is sat next to the stage, and then we've got the trick ramp there, you know, and there's the entrances for all the artists to come through, and the exits for the audience or whatever. And we're on the stage, and it's about 4 foot off the ground, and the curtains open, you know, dancing girls on the stage, and you know, like music stops and spotlights, and me and Jason are sat there like, you know, everybody clears, and then we start a routine, and 4 minutes of that, just hardcore, you know, like not really flatland, you know, we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, we just fast paced, we're just riding past each other, you know, doing airs and stuff, you know. I think when I'd heard Zach saying, you know, like lower gearing, we had a little bit more run up than that, and because it's slightly bigger ring.
Yeah.
But you know, you do reduce your gearing.
Yeah.
And you know, you're just getting maximum speed for what it is. But that ramp, you've got to set, that ramp is set up at the start of the show, and we're checking it, you know, like, but the first practice you got is that first air. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, it is scary, you know, the ramp can wobble, you know, but you get used to it. Boards are like this, you know, but it was...
It fucking sounds dangerous.
Sketchy. And like, every show, you know, like, because you'd spend maybe, the shortest time you spend at a place was a week. The longest we did a month.
Yeah.
But you know, you do that week, and then you'll drive after the show's finished at 11 o'clock, because there's 2 shows a day. You drive to the next place, but you've got to put everything away and everything. So you're not leaving till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Go to the next place, and then us young'uns had to lay the dirt and do all the sawdust and all that shit. And I was, you know, pissed up too much and wouldn't turn up, and you know, get told off and all that lot. and it, you know, just make sure that our run's all right. But yeah, we, you know,
Or did you just get sick of that, or?
Oh God!
You didn't say 4 years, did you? There's no way.
No. Well, no. What happened was once you start doing the shows, you start meeting people, and you know, like the artists are up their own arse. You know, like they don't want to speak to us because, you know, we're not proper circus.
Yeah, you're young kids as well.
But you get, you know, like we hung out with the trapeze and Mexicans. They were cool as fuck, you know. Mostly we hung out with like some of the workers, you know, that was what we did. You know, the Moroccans were awesome. They looked after us.
Yeah.
You know, they settled us in and everything. But, you know, you party hard, and that's what we did, and that's what I did especially. And I suppose I can't remember when Jason's birthday was, because we was in Amsterdam, and it was his birthday next day, and we'd done the show and we went out, and I don't think we got, you know, we never used to get back until it was, you know, just getting light and that, because we didn't have to work until 3 in the afternoon, and we got back, and you know, I was a bit drunk, and went to do the show, and same old thing, you know, like no hander. Face plant, helmet broke, done me in the chin, broke my jaw, both sides, laying on the floor, spitting out teeth and blood, and deathly silent. Obviously, it's a full house, and I'm laying there, and you know, like the ring boys came out, you know, all these Polish and Moroccans, you know, came up, picked up the 8x4 sheet, lifted up my hand as I'm going out, and everybody, you know, hey. I was thinking, oh fucking hell. Yeah, no,
So that was how you come back?
Yeah, that was it. I came back, went to Amsterdam, sort of like university hospital, and they repaired me all up here, over there. And came back for 4 weeks, and then Had it all taken out, de-wired and that, and 5 weeks I was back riding again, in the circus.
Oh, you went back there?
Yeah.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Dave Blundell took over while I was there, while I was home. And then when I went back, he came back. And then we did the stint, November we finished. I came back. I had some money, and me, Beveridge, Zoid, and I can't remember who else it was. There was another guy. We
got a flat in Brighton.
Got a flat in Brighton.
Okay.
I'm going to be. I'll just stay there until March, and then I'm back in the circus. Yeah. And then I ended up punching a mirror, and I sliced up all my tendons, and
and that's why you couldn't go.
And
back.
That's why I couldn't ride. I didn't ride for about 3 or 4 months. But then, in the meantime, I was getting better. I couldn't have a front brake or anything. And I went to do a competition in Western-super-Mare, and Peter Noble was there, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were supposed to be in Germany." And I said, "Oh no." He said, "Oh, do you want to do some shows in Austria?" Yeah, okay. And I sort of tried to tie it in with Hawkins about going back to the circus. And so I went to Austria, and they forgot to say, but the when I did the World Championships in Paris.
So that was in '89, right?
That was in '89.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, going back a bit, did the World Championships in Paris, and I went straight on to the circus.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And those ramps.
They had big ramps, right? Worlds in Paris.
Yeah. But in Austria, they had the 2 smaller quarter pipes, which were fucking awesome. And you had like about 70-foot run up between the two ramps. One was not supported really, but I guess by the end of it, it was getting a 10-foot air on the run up ramp, and then of course it was 12 foot, 12 foot on the big, and that was just incredible. We were doing shows to like 4 or 5 people.
And who was that with?
Howard.
Oh, Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave
Beveridge.
Eric Marcello. I think that was it.
Okay.
That was it. Because Carlo had done it. He'd been there, and he chinned it off after a couple of weeks. He said, "Oh no, I'm not doing this."
Yeah.
And went home. Fair enough, because it was we had to live in some train, some revamped train carriage.
Okay.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Again, there was no cooking facilities. You couldn't, you had to eat out everywhere,
Wow.
And there was in the middle of nowhere. But it was pretty amazing. I was laying in bed one morning, and I just heard this scratching under the bed. What the fuck? It was a baby tiger.
No way.
It's like,
fucking
and he's going. When they go like that. Yeah. 3-month-old baby tiger.
So what year was this? 90 or something?
That was 90. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so after this, was this when you come back and you was about then, like for a while?
Yeah. I came back. I sort of did a runner from that job because I couldn't afford to stay there.
Okay.
And I did a runner, and because it was the guy who was running those shows, he had another couple of guys that was in the circus in Italy, and in fact, while we were there, one of the guys in Italy fell off, broke his neck, and died.
Fell off of what?
BMX.
No way.
Yeah. And he was, this guy turned out
sour.
Yeah. And then when I left, and I just did a runner, and he rang me up, and he goes, "You have to come back." And Dave was saying, "You've got to come back, because they said they won't get paid unless
you
I
come
come back."
Okay.
I'm like, "No, I ain't coming back." And he cursed me, and he, I'd curse your family, I curse you. It's like you can go and do one.
Yeah, he dipped into some madness. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought, oh no, I'm not having this.
That's weird. After someone died as well. Like.
Yeah. It was just that. It was just. It was that. When he turned up and he told us about that, the lad that had died, and he had a, he had a young child, a wife, it was just awful.
Yeah. What a.
But they stayed, Dave and Howard and Eric stayed on for a bit, and then, I think they got over it. I don't think it would have made much difference. But that was pretty much the end of sort of like circus and shows, that sort of side of things. Anyway, I was like I say, that Austria was good because you could just practice and learn. And, we learned tail whips. That's when we first started doing tail whips, because after John's, and I actually pulled a tail whip or got on the frame, and it was just like, oh wow. I tried a 900, my first 900 I tried. I tried that as high as I could as well. I thought, if I go high, because you're riding all the time.
I understand the theory of that, but it's just so much more gnarly, isn't it?
Yeah, and I overspun and I bucked myself off the bike, and it's like, oh God.
You hurt yourself on that?
No.
Okay.
No. I'll tell you what I did do, and Howard was, but it's true anyway. So you got your quarter pipe, and you got it was in a circus tent, but it wasn't a circus, it was just us in that tent. And we worked it out as about 13.5 foot to the top of the tent. So I wanted to hit the tent roof, And so, I was on it one day, and, I did a massive run up there, and then I head down and just pedalled as fast as I could. Howard's on the ramp, just sat there. And the way I got my highest airs was the kick out, dangling foot.
Yeah.
Took off, and alley-ooped off the side of the ramp. I'm going up, and I see Howard over there, and I'm like, I'm just...
You're in no man's land.
Yeah, going for my highest air ever. And I've just boosted. And I did I broke my finger, but I don't know how I got away with it. That must have seemed like
a long way down.
Mate, I don't know how I got away with that. I really don't.
You were just doing the space run.
Yeah, it was just like trying to cat crawl, to forwards.
Yeah.
And then I did the, like the Marvel landing.
Yeah.
Broke my finger, and
that's a pretty good escape, really, isn't it?
But that's what fucked me up, because I couldn't ride, and so I didn't get paid, and that's why I left. Because I didn't ride. I stayed for 2 weeks, and it's like, no, it's not.
Can't do it. Yeah.
It's not getting better.
It's not going if you're riding on it, is it?
Yeah. So and it was just a bit of a nightmare. So I managed to.
So then you come back. You moved back home, yeah?
Yeah, I moved back home, and then I think I turned up at home, and MX Lee's living there. What the fuck? I think it was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned up because I didn't really know him. He just turned up at places, and and I knew he lived opposite Dave. And I said to my mum, I go, not just living there, but living in my room. Well, he had nowhere to live. Look.
Oh man, yeah, I've even forgotten this. I didn't know.
Yeah. So I had to share a room with Lee.
Your room,
my room. Yeah. I ended up moving out of that room and into the box room because I couldn't bear it anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just mad, like it was just mad.
And at this time, we're starting like to ride in Hastings, like so. This is like coming round like to Backyard Jam, like the second one with Fuzzy. The first one you was probably at the Circus. Or broken finger.
I wasn't there. Yeah, I wasn't.
So the second one, you're about now, aren't you? Like, and then like you rode that contest. I remember you riding that contest and riding real good.
Yeah, well,
because you was jumping like, and you could tell like most of us have only ever seen you do airs, but you could tell like you could jump real good.
Yeah, I'd always jumped.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it makes sense now when you're telling me like you used to race. Yeah. So that's like where you learnt a bunch of stuff was on jumps. Yeah.
I mean, I used to go to like before, like when I was a nipper. I used to go to Ash Ranges.
Yeah, you took me there. I went there with you. Yeah.
Exactly. And Jay Hardy and Keith Russell, and they were in Action Bike and all that.
Yeah.
And like they're still in touch with Joe, lovely guy.
Yeah.
And they all sort of knew each other. But it was one of the spots that you go to at Ash Ranges, because there was other there's that tabletop thing. But
that was what we rode. Yeah, we rode that table. Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And but it's such nice guys. Like they're like pros.
Yeah.
And they treat you like come on, I'm nice.
Yeah.
Like proper.
Yeah.
Because I did that. Me and again, like it's around about the same sort of time. Me and Dave went to this show, and it was Mike Pardon and Andy Preston.
Oh, okay.
In Farnborough.
Yeah.
At just some school, and like we watched their show and everything, and because we were up and coming and stuff, and we waited and waited, and everybody was getting autographs, and we waited, and then there was only them two left, and then we saw. Do you mind if we ever go in your quarter pipe? And he goes, yeah, all right. And we start riding. And, they were just saying, if you carry on the way you are, you'll be really good. Like you could get like, and you're just thinking, Mike Pardon, Andy Frizz. Yeah. It's just amazing, but that is a similar sort of thing, and it's just that, that mentality. And I suppose that's sort of like, it sat well with me because, like I don't, nippers, they're the future, like you treat them with respect and you give them encouragement, So I can't,
And then back then, like those guys were the two top dudes, weren't they? Like, or two of them, like
bi-weekly,
they was magazine regulars every month or every 2 weeks or whatever.
And they were good riders, It was, but they, sort of, saying about, Jay Hardy and all that lot. So that's where I learned to jump, and because that's and then really the jumping, I
translated straight over to it's just a different shape to go up. Yeah.
I always felt riding a quarter pipe was just like doing a jump.
Yeah.
Just doing a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's easier to land on a jump. Well, on back then it was anyway.
Yeah. Well, you could do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But going to Backyard Jam, it was I was just surprised, that wasn't anybody jumping like me.
No, I remember like back then, if you freed the doubles, it was like big. It was big shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like there wasn't a queue of people freeing the doubles, and I remember you like table freed the doubles and can look backs, which still no one does. Like can look back jumps. It's like that's not done even forever. Like you're the only person I've seen do that.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
And it is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's translated that over, but. Because there's photos online of you doing that. Like there's multiple pictures on Facebook of you doing that.
Oh my God, I do. I was quite chuffed because I was on I just built up a Haro Freestyler, and Bob has like gone, liked. Like he posted, he reposted it, and it's like, anyway.
Yeah, Beveridge's helmet. Like you didn't even have your own helmet. Yeah, it was good. It was.
No, I had a full face helmet, but I didn't want to use
you could use that there. Yeah. Yeah, that was good. And then, like from that one, then the next year you had that little they brought that video out, and you had that little part with the yellow. You was actually on a performer, weren't you?
Yeah.
You had to, like,
I did that because I wanted to carry on the thing. I'm going to ride an early,
Oh, okay. You're carrying on from the year before. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And it had Skyways, funnily enough, as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then it's like that was like a new. That era was becoming all new, wasn't it? Then.
Yeah, because that first one, that was cool because Hild came up to me and he goes, oh, do you want to wear my clothing? Yeah, give it over. So bench,
Yeah.
And it's like, so he just kicked me out. So, and I was working at Powerhouse Cycles in Haverteeth at the time. This was sorry, that was a bit later actually, wasn't it? Yeah, because
was that the year after maybe?
Yeah, I think he gave me close. I think that might have been the year after, but it was early.
Yeah, it was early. Yeah. Powerhouse seemed to.
I was there
92 or something. Like there was a lot of them shirts. Well, not a lot, but there was like people around with them.
Yeah. I think. I think I was probably getting ahead of myself, but I'm sure. Yeah, he had a picture of me with Burley on it. As his advert.
Yeah, that funnily enough, like back then, you got captioned right in the 90s. Like it was always like Burley, wasn't it? And it was like so fitting. It was like that's the perfect caption, and every caption that you seem to have would have like some reference to Burley, and it was so fucking perfect.
Geezer.
Finally get it in the right 90s. We've got it right. Yeah, but the geezer thing was. That wasn't me. That was from someone else, and it was like we'd gone to your tent in Southsea, and it was like there was you and like maybe 2 or 3 other guys. Remember when everyone used to camp round on the common, right? And we go, one of my friends, Pants. We go in, you're there. You got a fag on the go. You got a fucking like bottle of whiskey or some sort of fucking alcohol, and there's like some other guys sat round, and then you're playing cards in the tent. And we was like, what the fuck's going on here? Right? And then when we left, the guy I was with was like, God, you're such a geezer, aren't you? And it came from there. It was like, it all fitted. Like the riding was like very like geezer-ish. And like, there you are. And we called it the tent casino. Guys, it was like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, that's where that name came from.
Oh, that's cool.
Fucking funny. But that's like jumping forward a bit. But that was, I just remember that as being a fucking funny night, man. And then then you started getting like sections in the backyard videos.
Yeah,
that was a good era as well.
Yeah, well, it's great. Yeah, because Mark Richards, and then Dave Elpin as well. I think at this,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because they were a close bunch down there anyway.
Yeah, but it was like. At that point in time, like,
they just nailed it.
BMX was so exciting. It was so building towards like all the stuff that you wanted to not see in BMX was all coming together when it was all solid.
And it's strange because there wasn't a lot of people, but there was starting to be a bit of a resurgence, you know, and it's like that for let's say the 91 backyard jam, and you see the amount of people, but then. The subsequent years.
Yeah, you roll forward for 3 or 4 years, or not even, just like roll forward 2 years. Yeah, that track was packed.
Absolutely insane, and you're just like, wow.
What? So did you not ride the 93 one?
I missed one because I fell off my bike.
I only just realised you weren't there.
Yeah, I missed one. I was meant to ride. And I think it was after the following,
it was a 93. It was
it's where Dave did his
second or something.
He did his boomerang
decade,
jump. Yeah, his decade jump. No, I was all geared up to ride. I can't remember what frame I had, but it was another old schooler. But I was riding to Farnham. It was about 2 weeks before, and there was some lad who I knew. And it was all gravel path, and I was, oi! And he turned around and caught the crook of my arm. I just went, I just took all, I chunked
the skin off your hands,
and I couldn't bloody grip. Well, I could. It was just started healing up, and in practice, I fell off and I just landed on a stone and it tore it right open, so I couldn't ride. So I was gutted.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously, it was not a lot I could do. But Dave took it for us.
He took it for the brotherhood. Yeah. And then videos were like how many parts do you have in them? Like 3 or 4. You had one every year, didn't you, for a while?
Yeah. I was
on GT at one.
Yeah, I went.
And then was you on GT and then Powerlight, or
no?
Was that the same thing?
No. What happened was I was interesting story, but you might have known. But that backyard jam where Dennis and Fuzzy were there. Afterwards, Dennis came up to him. He said, "Oh, do you want to ride for Mongoose?"
Oh, really?
And I goes, "Yeah, all right." So it was all I was supposed to be going to be riding for Mongoose. I thought, "Fuck me, this is cool."
Yeah.
And then nothing happened. And what I heard along the grapevine was that Moore and Large, I think they were the distributors. They wanted to choose who they wanted to be on Mongoose rather than Dennis, and they couldn't supply me directly from the States, and so, I didn't. So anyway, I think it was 93, it was Matt Yo.
That's it,
was a GT team manager.
Guy,
yeah, and he rang me up and he said, "Oh, do you want to ride GT? I've got," I think it was, me, Tabron, who was it? John Taylor.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But it's like that would be cool. And they had a big quarter pipe. They had a big jump box and all this lot. I'm doing shows. I'm going to be doing shows. I think I only ever did one show. I think they said to me, "Oh, we haven't got any GTs. Would you ride a Powerlight?"
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Yeah, I'll ride a Powerlight. It was just subsidiary, whatever." So I got the Powerlight, and it was fucking awesome. I think Morris Meyer designed that.
Okay.
I only found that out, after anyway. But that was an awesome bike, and the GTs were too short anyway, But
yeah,
I loved the Powerlight.
The Powerlight was better. So you had the Powerlight first.
Yeah.
But you did have a GT, right?
Had a What happened after? I loved the Powerlight, and then I think it was 94 or 95. I can't remember. But they brought out a new Powerlight and they brought out the new GTs, and Matt, said to me, he goes, "Oh, which one do you want?" I said, "I'll have the titanium coloured Powerlight." "Oh, okay. And I think it was sort of like winter time, Christmas sort of time. And he rang me up and he goes, "Oh, we're not going to get Powerlights in. You'll have to ride a GT." Oh, right. Okay. And I got it and I hated it.
Okay.
And so that's, there was a couple of other things.
It was a weird GT as well, wasn't it? It was like an opposite of a performer, like the down tube was kind of bent from the bottom or something.
It was so short. It was, it's too small for me. I rode it. I picked it up in Bristol, and all the guys were there, and I tried it on the vert ramp, and I didn't like that vert ramp anyway, and it was just like I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then I get the GT. Nothing was doing, and so then I get a call from Matt say, we got a sponsor from British Knights as well now, and they're going to pay for all you guys to go and do the extreme games.
Yeah.
Wow.
What year is this? Like 96 or something?
94, 95.
Okay.
I think. Something like that. And I just thought, Jesus Christ, no. I can't do that.
You didn't fancy it?
Well, I did a few shows for Team Extreme. And I think it was about 93, 94. We did the Bristol Beach down in Newquay.
Okay.
And that was like a 10-day show, and like 3 days in, I did a 540, landed flat bottom, and I wrapped my foot over the, like just collapsed over the pedal.
Rounded it out, yeah.
And I couldn't walk, and I went to the, like the local hospital, and they couldn't X-ray it, and they said, "Oh, we don't think it's broken or anything," but I fucked it. And after that point, if I landed heavy, that was it was done. And I kind of, it was kind of me thinking, well, to be honest with you, 1, I don't like the bike. 2, my ankle's fucked. And 3, and this is the real one, is I was getting the jitters. I didn't want to do comps anymore. I really didn't want to do, I've done it.
Yeah, you've done it to a fucking high level as well. Right?
Yeah, and it was just, I didn't feel confident on the vert. I didn't, so I said, look, I quit. I don't want, sorry, I don't want to ride for GT anymore. Yeah. I don't want to be sponsored by anybody.
Yeah.
And so, that was that. And, I was happy with that. I was riding locally on the trail, on the jumps and everything. That was cool. And then I just thought, competitively wise, I ain't got that.
You spent it, You're fucking giving it all, weren't you?
It was, I'd done enough.
Yeah.
And, I was wrecking myself anyway. Yeah. And then, of course, Stuart rang me up, and he goes, I don't do a good impression of Stuart. He goes, I hear you're not riding for G2. And I said, no. And he goes, Matt's been asking after you. Would you ride for Hoffman?
Oh, yeah.
I goes, well, you can give me a bike, but I'm not going to enter any competitions. I'm not. That's why I left. I explained. He said, no, you don't have to enter any competition. Okay, yes, I'll have a bike. I'll ride a Hoffman. Yeah. I'll get I'm with all the kids all day long. So it's still a promotion, isn't it? So it's pretty cool. And I was happy with that, and so I got the bike, and that was that, and that's what I did. I just rode for pleasure and just had a bike. And
you rode it. You did have a
I've got a Hoffman.
Yeah, Condor.
Bloody heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
And again, like I was doing some bunny hops outside, and it was just hurting my ankle so much. Then it came. I went to the backyard jam. So the following year, I think it was '96 by this point, when they changed the venue. Like where the jumps were, and they had the vert ramp
in the field.
And a few weeks before that, Stuart rang me up, and he said, he goes, well, the new Hoffman bikes are out. There's one here for you, but you have to ride in the jam. I said, I don't want to ride in the jam. He said, well, you can't have the bike.
Okay.
Well, I don't want the bike. Well, you'll have to give back the other bike.
Yeah.
Give me the bike, I'll ride in the jam. Okay. And so, I got the bike, and I got pissed. and then I got Lee to get me out, and we went and watched the Formula One.
You just done right.
And of course, I got Dave pissed.
Yeah.
And saying, you got to ride the vert. You got to ride the vert to him. And fuck me, he did, and he did well. But I left him to. I went to the pub.
Good luck, mate.
I did give the bike back.
Okay.
I did give the bike back. But I don't think they were very happy with it.
So that was, what was that, 97, 96?
Yeah.
97?
Yeah.
The one with, I think Dave rode Vert in 97.
Yeah, it must be then, yeah. That was pretty much, like my swan song.
Okay.
Up to that point then. I was burnt.
Yeah. You just needed time out of it, probably.
With the injury and the ankle and that. And funnily enough, I I did a show for Team Extreme like a few years later, and down in Littlehampton, because I was, like Dennis Wingham, like he was always calling me up saying, "Oh, do you want to do a show? Like a bit of extra." Yeah, okay, And this went on for a few years, so I was dabbling.
Yeah.
But I wasn't riding. I was like, because I had a family. It was difficult. Like.
So what was you doing at the show? I'd be terrified if I hadn't ridden for a while, and then I had to like suddenly go somewhere and do it.
Oh dear, it was hard.
Yeah, that's really hard on the.
But it's you learn quick.
Yeah, well, you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did a fight. It was probably like 2006 or something, and I did a 540, and I sort of like I'd never fuck up 540s. I just clipped the front wheel,
going in.
Just
coming
spinning round, I just completely done it, and I landed awkwardly. I stood on the bike, and I fucked it, and I went to the local Worthing Hospital, and they said, "Oh, we think it's okay." And then I got a call saying, "No, we need to see you." And I went down there, and he said, "Oh, brilliant consultant." And he said, "Oh, like if you look at this X-ray here, I cracked my talus." But he said it's an old injury, so I think that's what I'd done, because you can feel the same same sort of pain. So I think I'd broken my talus like before, and it doesn't heal. So unless it's screwed up or something. But because I lived so far away from Worthing, he said. And I had an automatic car, and he said, "Well, go to your local hospital and like tell them what I said, and then they'll X-ray it and stuff." And I did, and they couldn't find it, and they took like loads of X-rays, couldn't find it. So it's an ongoing thing, So
that's still the thing you've got going on now.
Well, that as well as the knee.
The knee was a separate crash.
Yeah.
Was that a Caterham?
No, that was. Well, I did. 92. I broke my leg. In Hungary.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that one. That was nasty, wasn't it? That was
yeah, but it wasn't, wasn't as bad as
healed
that
up
one.
quick. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was. Although I had a pin in there for a year and a half, like through the bone. That was a bit gnarly, but I think I was riding again after 6 months.
Okay.
With the pin in. I just take it easy, but a year and a half or a year later. The pin came out, and I was back to normal. But that was fast.
Yeah.
That was fast recovery. That was 6 months. I was back. But that was at Sidley.
Oh, you did that Sidley?
Yeah. You won't believe how I did it as well. It was just mad.
What was you doing there then?
Well, I went with my son. Like Jay. He was 14 or something, and we just went out there, on a Sunday. It was like, and he'd ridden there before, like we both had, but I hadn't ridden for a couple of months again, fuck it, I can still ride. So I nose bonked every, the first 4 jumps, nose bonked every, push through it, and on the fourth set, this is from the top, on the fourth set. Feet came off the pedals. I rode out of the trail. Obviously, I'm fully padded, helmet, everything. Brakes on, into a tree, and went. Fell back into the trail, and the top tube is there. Bars 90 that way. Bike stopped.
Yeah, squished yourself. Yeah.
So it just went that way. Leg up here, snap, shattered the knee.
Oh, that's how you did that,
yeah. Nothing. I'd stopped and just fell back into the trail.
Shit, I didn't know. I always thought it was a Caterham for something. I don't know why.
Yeah, just got trapped between the top tube and the bars. Because of the knee pads and that. Yeah, mad. Absolutely innocuous.
Yeah. That's the last time you rode a BMX, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah, I did. Kong was always there. You know, like he was really supportive.
Yeah.
You know, like Kong and Ben, and you know, like, you know, Steve Whitaker, and you know all that lot. You know, because people didn't really well, you wouldn't. You know, people really didn't understand. But no, it was, you know, truly fun. I couldn't walk for 9 months. Couldn't work. So it was really, really tough. But that was, you know, that's the last time I had a BMX, got nicked out of my car, but, you know, I had the seat.
You just riding around,
I couldn't, you know, but now, because I've had the knee replacement, I had that in 2017. But because of the damage done before, they had to use two separate pieces, two separate models.
Yeah.
And I'm due to see the consultant again because I think the implant is loose. So, but it's always painful. It's always, you know, but it's 100% better than what it was before the knee replacement. You know, I can work, I can do stuff, but I can't ride, and you know, it's hard. But you know, you know,
fucking hell, yeah. That sucks, doesn't it? Especially as it was like that was a big part of your shit, wasn't it? Like for so long, like
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, from 14, 15.
But the amount of like passion and energy is immeasurable, isn't it? It's like you can measure it in years, but like the amount of like some people have put so much much into that, you know, like, and that to me that's like when them quiet times and people like yourself and like some other people are just like really fucking squeezing it as hard as they could. Like,
I mean, you know, Jay. I mean,
I never saw him ride, but I heard many stories. Yeah,
he was an awesome rider.
Yeah,
and I think he found it hard. Not seeing me crash, you know, he didn't give a fuck. He carried on riding.
Yeah.
He stayed there with what's his face? Ricky.
Yeah.
You know, like. And I like that.
Yeah.
But he'd also crashed like a year before, and because he was going for it. At the time.
Yeah. No, I'd heard stories like, oh, this dude's he's coming up, like.
Yeah. And he paralysed his arm for like cricked his neck, slammed on his head, cricked his neck, and I had to go over and, you know, like, and he'd been taken to hospital, and they thought he'd broken his neck and all this shit. So, you know, like there was a few things that happened, and, you know, even I said to him, I said, mate, you have to be up there at the top. You know, all these kids are sending, I mean, they're insane. You know, like they're so fucking rad, and you have to be so fucking rad and doing all these mental tricks. You know, you're endangering yourself.
Yeah.
You know, also,
but so were you. Like, You guys were like 100%. Like this, I think comparing the two like things that are going on now to comparing them what were going on then, people back then were going way not crazier than people are going now, but they've not had all them steps to get there. Do you know what I mean? It was just suddenly like we're going up 10 floors instead of like going up one floor at a time.
No, true. Yeah. But you know, it doesn't matter. You know, I learned backflips on dirt.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like,
you know,
them little steps weren't made back then. They were just giant leaps.
But then if you're seeing these guys doing what, you know, doing what they're doing, you know, like it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And scary and all that lot. But you know, and it wasn't. I don't think it was the fear that scared Jay off. It was just. You know, youngster.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you measure it up, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Does it equal the amount of pleasure I get out of it?
Yeah. And he, I saw him Christmas time and that, and he says, "Oh, you know, I think about getting a bike again," and I think, well, do you know what? I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
You know, like put that much effort, because that much effort has to be.
How old is he now?
He's 21 now.
Oh, okay, still really young, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going back. He was probably 15 or 16 then when he was really like terrorising it.
Oh yeah. He was just rad. It was just a good style.
Yeah, that's like, what a few people said. Yeah,
but like, you know, again, what he wanted was to be up there, but just seeing him ride was enough.
Yeah,
you know, for me.
Yeah.
But not for him. So, you know, like he wanted to be, you know, up there.
Yeah.
So he'd have had to go, you know, and he knew that. I don't know, I'm speaking for him, but, you know,
yeah.
It's hard to explain, isn't it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of risk in that, in bike riding, like, especially if you're quite, like, recklessly minded, it sometimes takes you longer to get there, doesn't it?
Yeah,
because you're like, you take harder knocks, you don't go up so slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What we got? Well, I reckon we got enough there to get on with. I think.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, it's good, man. I'm just checking. I'm just making sure that we had. Yeah, I was just making sure that we kind of ticked everything through. No, it's good. There's fucking loads of shit in there that I didn't know. Like I had no idea about. Like all interesting shit that's like connects to like it all joins, doesn't it? This is what I enjoy. Yeah.
Well, you know that I was, you know, one of the things I was thinking about. It's like me riding at my best when there's only been like 2 or 3 people watching. You know, like I did a show for Pete and Obi, you know, Team Extreme show.
Yeah.
On the old half pipe, you know, like the old Swatch.
Right. And
it was a party. I know this has got to be like 96, 97, and I was getting 10, 11 foot just playing 540s where you bone out, and you know it's in total control. Like when the Spitalfields contest, you know, like, and seeing Hoffman and Dave Mirror and, you know, like, and you're thinking, wow, and Jamie, you know, because Jamie's awesome, and Simon, you know, and they're all going, and then we're the next level down. Do you know what I mean? You know, when I, you know, and thinking to myself as I'm in the air, like, and just. Whenever did I ever think, you know, like I'm just looking at that coping and knowing exactly where I'm going to land, and I'm fucking high and I'm doing all the styles, and I'm thinking, I'm not worried. I'm there. You know, like 5 foot, bone it out. Nobody sees that. Yeah. No, you know. Yeah, but you know, no magazines or anything.
Yeah.
But it's here.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's there. Like you know it. Like you know how it felt, and you know what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to be justified by anyone else when you're at that. Like
no.
Yeah.
No. But they're the special moments, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just nice to have those.
Yeah, 100%, man. We'll end this like this then.
Yeah.
What was your favourite print photo that you ever had in a magazine?
Oh. All right. I think it was probably one of my first ones. And it was an action bike, and it was just like a black and white thing, and there was a picture of Tony. I just got on Skyway, picture of Tony McKenzie. And I'm just doing, and it's taken from the back of the ramp. And it's just me, I think it was on the dyno with the yellow helmet. And I'm just a flat air line.
You're doing a flatty?
Yeah. I think that's probably that, or the one for a look back, a whole shot.
Okay. Not the Indian?
No, I hate that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I changed my style on the Indians.
Okay.
You know, more trailing.
Yeah. But that was an early. That was 87.
It's still Indian. Like that, isn't it? You know, like it's still like.
Good,
no, I don't like it.
That's crazy. You don't like that one. Such a memorable pick for most people. So I'm gonna have to find that other one. Because I only remember the one-footed look back on the dyno.
Yeah.
The early. I think. Did you have a GT jersey maybe then?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I
remember that one. I think that was in the A to Z of Freestyle as well.
Yeah.
You can't remember what feature that's in?
No.
Well, that would definitely have it. It would have been 86, wouldn't it?